A Court of Fairies and Fiction. ACOSF Girls Podcast. Hosts Mel and Liv. Season 2, Episode 13. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?
Hello, everybody. We're back.
Yay! Yeah. We survived. I survived.
Oh my God, we had such a short episode this week. We went from like a 3.5, 4 hour episode to like an hour and a half. I was like, fuck.
I know, but the awesome thing is you and Eka,
we do have that episode that I'm still editing, so sorry,
you
guys.
filmed for like 6 hours. That's amazing. So it kind of compensates.
Well, yeah, it was like 4.5-ish. I thought it was 6, but I was tired, so 4.5.
Okay, 4.5, 6. I could see how you could easily kind of,
melt together.
Let's round up.
Anyway, I got some book mail from A Touch of Magic Designs, which is...
I love their shop. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see this.
So, I forgot that I ordered special edition Crescent City series from the big book box, which is actually in India, so it like takes fucking forever to show up. So I haven't gotten them yet, but I was like, well, they have sprayed edges, but if they have sprayed edges, I want special dust jackets for them. So I got the first two because she had done the first two, and she's gonna do Crescent City 3 later on, but I wanted to show you guys because they're so pretty.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh my God.
Bryce.
Oh, I'm obsessed. Holy crap. Wait, who's this on the back cover?
Yeah.
Danica. And who?
Danica and... Is
that Hunt?
Connor! I think it's Connor. God. It's either Connor or Ethan, but I think it's Connor.
Stop it. So who? Okay, so who?
I'm sure somebody will say, no, it's Ethan, but I don't think Ethan wasn't that prominent in book 1.
I think it's the two people that, I don't want to spoil, but I think...
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Connor.
Dude, my weakness for Connor. Wait, those are beautiful. Who did that again?
A Touch of Magic Designs on Instagram. They also have a shop.
I'm ordering. I have to order from them because it's freaking gorgeous.
And of course, House of Sky and Breath is Hunt.
Stop it. Oh my God.
And Rune and Lydia.
Stop. Oh, look at Rune. He's so hot. I love Rune. And I love Hunt.
Really hot here.
Hunt looks amazing.
So,
wow.
I can't wait to see what she comes up with for Crescent City 3. Who do you think's going to be on the front? I don't think it'll be Bryce again.
I hope she puts Rune on the front because I think Rune needs some white fame.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like because the fandom is like so into her, I think she might put Lydia on the front.
I know. I could see it.
But I want the back to be Bryce and Nesta and Azriel, though. Can you imagine? That would be awesome.
I would die. But also if she included Hunt and Cassian on there, I would be totally okay with it. Like just like that whole group. And then like Lydia. But we also need like...
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna be like Lydia on the front and then like Rune and Therian and Ethan on the back or something like that.
Oh, I love that. I love Ethan. I like Therian. And people just like freaking hated on them.
It's so... Like, I was actually saying this on somebody's post the other day. I was like, Ethan is literally, people forget that he's literally a 22-year-old kid.
I know.
Whose entire family was murdered.
He has nobody.
Like, His parents were slaughtered.
I
And then
know.
all he had was his brother, who was slaughtered.
I
Like,
know.
this kid lost his entire family. Danica, his entire fucking pack. They don't give him a
No.
break.
Nobody gives. I love Ethan. No one gives him a break. He's trying. His heart's in the right spot.
Kid. Like, no, actually, Sunball is kind of a point of his pain because he lost all of his Sunball friends because they didn't know how to deal with a depressed person.
Yeah.
Like, nobody visited him. Nobody checked up on him after.
No. I remember when I was reading when in House of Sky and Breath when he was like kicked out, basically had nowhere to go. And like he hated Bryce. He was so well, he didn't hate her, but he was so hurt by her.
Yeah,
And then he
because
ends up,
Bryce was in her own depression. She didn't check up on him either.
I know she did. And to his credit, it kind of was both. Like
It was both of
I
them.
I understood Ethan because also like listening to the recording of like Bryce like having sex with that one dude, like the night the brother asked her out.
I
Like,
understood
I was
that.
devastated.
God.
I
Oh
know.
God, that was painful too. Yeah.
It was painful. I was pissed at Bryce. I was like, that was really messed up and dirty. Really wrong.
I mean, granted, obviously she didn't know they were gonna die, but that was still a shitty thing to do after she's like, oh well, if I'm eventually his girlfriend, I'll have a last blast and fuck some dude in a bathroom. I'm like, what?
No, that was
It's
really crappy
bizarre.
of her.
It was bizarre.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I don't know.
I
But
know.
anyways, those are gorgeous, and I can't wait for her to do the third one.
They're so beautiful. I love how they drew all of the characters.
I'm I'm kind of freaking out because I forgot that I ordered that set and I had ordered another set. So now I have like 3 or 4 sets of Crescent City, 7 sets of ACOTAR. It's bad.
No, they're consider them an investment, right? They're collector's items.
Right?
I'm curious to see this set from India though. Like I want to see the sprayed edges. I want to see all of
what
it.
else I got from there? I got the Letters of Enchantment duology with sprayed edges.
Oh my God, you gotta show me.
You're like, I love this series. So it says like, what's the main character's name again? The girl in Divine Rivals.
It's not Romic hits the guy and Iris Winnows the girl.
Oh, Iris. Okay, so like book 1 says like Dear Iris on it, and then
Yes.
book 2 is like Dear Roman. It was
Oh,
really cute. Yeah, so I got that too. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going to put all of that.
I love it. I love like all these really cute, beautiful book copies you find. You find the best ones.
I was telling them, so they just announced their ACOTAR dust jacket set, which you saw. They're gorgeous. I'm like, I cannot get another ACOTAR set. I'm not getting another ACOTAR set. That's it. I have 7. I'm not getting an 8. I have 7. I mean, do I get one for the 8 course? No.
You totally should. Because you know what? You could also use logic to say like maybe my friends will want to read it and I'll just lend them out to people.
I know. What I wanted to do today is something that as many times as I have read ACOSF, I feel like I read it on autopilot now. And so I was going over my highlights on my Kindle version. And there's like so many highlights that I've never gone over that I like highlighted to go over before and we just never have. And there is fucking so much glaring foreshadowing about CC3. It's wild.
Really?
Glaring? Yeah.
Oh wow, let's go over it then.
So, oh my God, of course my eye is like burning now. Anyways. I wore my dusk color glasses today.
Ooh, I love that.
So
cute.
So this is going to mostly be about Nesta, but I'll go highlight to highlight and you know. Anyways, we're going to start in the middle of chapter 40, which actually kind of sort of starts with Nesta, but it also starts with Lucian. So this is chapter 40 of ACOSF when Lucian shows up at the training ring because
I love that
Farah,
scene.
because Farah asked him to go check on Nesta. She doesn't even speak to him, but yeah. So anyways, this kind of goes to the fact that we were talking about how the Autumn Court knows things. And I think we always forget that like Lucian lived in the Autumn Court his whole childhood and everything. So, and he was kind of his mom's favorite, so I feel like his mom would have told him stuff too, along with Eris.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, there's like a little break in the chapter, whatever. It says, by the cauldron, a familiar male voice said beside Cassian, and he turned to find Lucian in the archway of the training area. Cassian says hello. Nesta is pounding the wooden beam or whatever. It says she's actually training. Did you think she was filing her nails? Lucian's mechanical eye clicked, his face tightened, and Nesta threw a spectacular left hook into the wood beam. It shuddered with the impact. I wonder if there are some things that should not be awoken, he murmured. What? What,
Always
Lucian?
was thrown off. I know, I was always thrown off by that quote when he said it. I was always like, oh my gosh, what does he know?
What,
I knew it
Lucian?
then.
Because they don't even know about her magic till like chapters after this.
Yeah.
Sort of. Kind of. Cassian cut him a glare. Mind your own business, fireling. Lucian just watched Nesta attack, his golden skin a little pale. So he's like, I don't know why my fucking, ugh, my eyes are burning. But I have really bad allergies, like
You're so
Cassian.
good. Don't worry about it.
Uh,
I think deep down you like Cassie and you identify.
yeah, yeah. I just did. Yeah, don't look at my reels that I did today.
Oh gosh. Oh no. Is it
I
more
did.
Cassie and death reels?
Well, I did one to the song "My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys."
I mean, I'm not against that one.
With, well, it's about how Cassian is making Nesta worse again, but anyways.
Yeah. No,
Close.
I could see it.
Anyways, apologies for that. I don't know. My eyes were just like
It's that
annoying.
summer heat and the pollen.
Annoying. Yeah. Well, it's like I'm like fine when I'm waiting, and then like the minute we click record, my eyes are
I know.
like burn. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's how I am too. I'm like, God, I'm ravishing. Like, what can I eat? Throw it in
Literally.
my,
Like the
you know,
second we click
so thirsty.
record, shit happens.
Yeah.
Anyways, Cassian gets mad at him for looking at her, blah blah blah. Um, Nesta, of course, leaves the ring, and it says, only when her footsteps vanished did Lucian say, Mother, spare you all. Cassian was already walking to the wooden beam. A small disk of impact lay in its center through the padding all the way to the wood itself. It glowed. Cassian raised shaking fingers to it, to the burn mark, still sparking like an ember. Ember?
I know. Look at that.
The entire wood block was smoldering from within. He touched his palm to it. The wood was cold as ice. The block dissolved into a pile of cinders. Cassian stared in stunned silence, the smoking wood hissing in the rain. Lucian came up beside him. He only said again, voice solemn, Mother, spare you all.
I love
What
Lucian.
do you know, Lucian? And then fucking Reese, like, sends him away. We don't know what he would have fucking known. So annoying. Chapter 41. I know you can't really see it on here. I have like a huge block of highlight. This is when Helion is visiting Hewn City and he comes on his Pegasus.
Okay. I know you sent this to me because I was reading it the other night in bed.
Yes.
Yep.
Helion, High Lord of the Day Court, arrived at the Hewn City the next afternoon on a flying horse. He'd wanted to enter the Dark City in a golden chariot led by 4 snow-white horses with manes of gold and fire.
So cool.
Sunfire? Hello? We never put that together. Thank you. Rhys had told Cassian, but Rhys had forbidden the chariot and horses and let Helion know that he could win a win or not come at all. Hence the Pegasus. Helion's idea of a compromise. Cassian had heard rumors of his rare Pegasus. It's Pegasi, Sarah J. Maas. I hate that. Like Pegasus. No, it's Pegasi.
Yeah.
Anyway, editors, hello.
I know.
Hello.
I thought the same thing.
Oh my god, every time it makes me cringe. Myth claimed his prize stallion had flown so high the sun had scorched him black, but beholding the beast now, Cassian might have been envious if he didn't have wings himself. The winged horses were rare, so rare that it was said that Helion's 7 breeding pairs of flying horses were the only ones left. Lore held that there had once been far more of them before recorded history, and that more had just vanished, as if they'd been devoured by the sky itself. Their population had dwindled further in the last 1,000 years for reasons no one could explain. They're coming back. They're coming back, just like when Avalon was liberated. All those Pegasi are gonna come out of the ground.
So excited. I'm so excited. So we're gonna see a ton of them in this next ACOTAR book. Like they gotta be everywhere.
The minute that Nesta finishes liberating Dusk, I cannot wait.
Oh my gosh, they're gonna be everywhere.
This hadn't been helped by Amarantha, who had butchered 3 dozen of Helion's Pegasuses in addition to burning so many of his libraries. Because she was fucking Asteri.
I agree with that. I read that and I was like, huh? Burning the libraries, Amarantha. Burning them.
The 7 pairs that remained had survived thanks to being set free before Amarantha's cronies could reach their pens in the highest tower of Helion's palace. Helion's most beloved pair, this black stallion Meallan, and his mate hadn't produced offspring in 300 years, and the last foal hadn't made it out of weaning before he'd succumbed to an illness no healer could remedy. What was the illness? Did Amarantha, like, was this before? This was before Amarantha 300 years ago. I'm getting increasingly worried about the parasite shit. But anyways. According to legend, the Pegasi, had come from the island the prison sat upon, had once fed in fair meadows that had long given way to moss and mist. Perhaps that was part of the decline. Their homeland had vanished, and whatever had sustained them there was no longer. Fucking Vesperus. That's what it is. Just click. The sickness is Vesperus. She's drinking the magic.
Is that what that is? Is that what's but is she drinking the magic of all of the Prithian fae as well? Like, is everyone weaker because of her?
No.
But then it also said that it was more magical because of her, right?
She's like, oh, I drank from the land drank from me. Weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Farrah comes in, blah, blah, blah. Fucking, I'll take you on a ride if you wish. Fucking Helion.
I love Helion so much.
I love her so much. And then they go back and forth about telling him about the pregnancy. They tell him about the pregnancy. And then they ask him about the Autumn Court soldiers, testing him to see if he would know about the trove, right?
Yeah.
Helion had spoken to and briefly touched the hands of the 2 Autumn Court soldiers chained in that room, kept alive and fed by Rhys's magic. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Because did you catch that? Kept
fed by
alive and fed by Rhys's magic. Helion's face tensed when he touched their hands and then murmured that he'd seen enough. Helion's a seer. Helion's a fucking seer. It just works differently. He has to touch somebody. And he can receive and give information.
But don't you think that's different than being a seer? Like,
I think it's a different type of seer, but I think it's still being a seer. He had to says he murmured that he'd seen enough, so he had to have seen what happened to the soldiers when he touched them.
He did. What do you think, almost though, like more Daemati in a way? Because like he can like see inside their minds, and maybe not, because I guess he can't talk to them.
Yeah. I think it's
You
just
know?
giving and receiving information.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of like a mystic,
Yeah.
kinda. Nothing in the hewn city had seemed to disturb him until that moment. Not the towering black pillars and their carvings. I'm not gonna say what I said over text or in my reel, but fucking hewn from that. Not the wicked people who'd occupied it, not the utter darkness of the place. If it reminded Helion of his time under the mountain, he did not let on. Amarantha had modeled her court there after this one, apparently, but it was a sorry replica, Rhys had said. Enchanted isn't the right word, Helion said, frowning. Their bodies and actions are indeed not their own, but no spell lies upon them. I can feel spells like threads. Ones that can enchant feel like bindings around an individual, if he's looking for them. I sensed none of that. Threads. So what ails them? Rhys asked. I don't know, Helion admitted with unusual gravity. Rather than a thread, it was more like a mist, a fog, like you described it. There was nothing to grasp onto, nothing tangible to break, yet it was there. Rhys asked, does it feel less like a spell and more like an influence? Helion rubbed his jaw. I can't explain how, but it's as if this fog around their mind sways them. What is it? Feyre's mouth tightened. The crown, part of the dread trove. So then we skip a little bit. He's talking about Briallen. And then Azriel clears his throat. Nesta's waiting. She's here. Helion practically shimmered with golden light.
I know he's
But also, golden light. Who else has golden light? Tamlin and Lucian.
yeah.
Golden light
Yeah.
when their glamours aren't
Yeah.
on. And then Cassian like thinks about Nesta and how they had sex, blah 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 blah. Thinking about your mother. A yo mama joke. I
I know,
that.
I loved
I
it.
like that.
I like that too. That was a good moment.
Okay, this part. Nesta faced Helion again, taking in that spiked golden crown and the draped white robe. Was that your winged horse that flew over earlier? Helion's smile was a thing of cultivated beauty. He is my finest stallion. He's lovely, as are you. I'm so excited. Nesta surveyed Helion for long enough that he shifted on his feet. A High Lord actually shifted on his feet under her gaze. She said at last, I appreciate the compliment. And that was that. Queen shit right there.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited. Anyways. Rhys cleared his throat, amusement glittering in his eyes. Well, there it is. He pointed to the black velvet mound on the table. Nesta. She pulled away the cloth. Ancient, beaten gold gleamed, and Helion hissed as a cold, strange power filled the room, whispering like a chill breeze. Helion whirled to Nesta. All sensuality vanished. You truly wore this and lived? It wasn't a question meant to be answered. Cover it again, please. I can't stand it. Rhys tucked in his wings. It affects you that much? Doesn't it rake its cold claws down your senses? Not as much as all that, Feyre said. We can sense its power, but it didn't bother any of us so seriously. Helion shuddered again, and Nesta threw the cloth over the mask, as if the cloth somehow blinded it to their presence. Perhaps an ancestor of mine once used it, and the warning of its cost is imprinted upon my blood. Helion shook out a breath. All right, Nesta, allow me to show you some warding tricks even clever Rhysand doesn't know. Ooh! I need to know! Because Helion is Starborn.
But also, I don't know. I have this like interesting new thought.
What? Say it. Say it.
So I'm not far enough in Tog. Yeah, and this goes along with the idea that like somehow people are ancestors of like other people. And I don't know, I just can't help but think that like Tamlin and every other High Lord besides Rhys is like 100% Fae, like Ash,
That
Ash.
comes up later.
Okay.
Actually, it's something I've never caught. I mean, I had it highlighted, but something like I highlighted probably my first time and like never really thought about until I started Tog.
But
It says,
also the
yeah,
fact that like the Fae and he like sensed the Asteri so vividly, that's really interesting to me. But I don't know. Keep
it's
going.
weird though because he doesn't sense it on Nesta. He's all flirty with Nesta. Like it's only the mask that
You
freaks
know,
him out.
it's weird to me because the Trove likes Nesta so much, and fuck, like
I know, I know, I know, I know.
that's a freaking Asteri Trove, dude. So like, are the
Well, it's
Archeron
half.
girls?
The cauldron's still half and half. It's
I
still
don't
half
know.
good, half bad. And Amryn actually says this. That's another thing I did later.
Okay. Okay.
In the end, Helion created the wards and keyed them to Nesta's blood, a pinprick of it, courtesy of Truth Teller.
Made object.
Had done the job. And she unmade Briolin later. Is it
Crazy.
because she was pricked with Truth Teller?
Oh, well,
Or is it
and
because she already had that magic?
so
But
she
she
was
was
using her.
the Truth Teller's part of the trove. It literally pricked her blood.
But wait a second, I thought she was using her maid sword, and that would undo it as well, right? Because
Well,
her trove is made.
yeah, true. Perhaps.
I don't know. But it
Maybe.
could be this. It could
I
be
don't
this
know.
too.
Just after the whole, like, I don't know, after the whole Vespers being like, or Einar being like, it can unmake things.
I know.
I was
I
like,
know.
um,
They're gonna unmake the cauldron. Holy shit! No.
Cassian found himself tensing at the sight of that little bead of red and its scent.
Oh wait,
People are
is
like,
that
is
mate?
that a
Is that
mate thing?
is that
No,
mate like
it is not.
behavior? He's
No, it was an
tensing at
effort
it.
to tell his body there was no threat. Anyway. And then this actually really
I love it. I
this
love your hatred of them.
this part actually really, really concerns me after Crescent City 3. I'll show you the unlocking spell, Helion said, but she stepped away from him. No, she said abruptly. No, I don't want to know it. If Briolin is hunting for the mask, if she apprehends me, I don't want to have any knowledge of how to free it. Rhys said, that's fine. Helion can show me. And if we need the knowledge, I'll show you. Yeah, right, you fucking asshole. Rhys held out a hand to Helion, indicating how he'd prefer to be shown the spell. Prefer to be shown. Their fingers interlaced, their eyes going vacant, and then Rhys blinked. Thank you.
I love that you are. See, if anything, I'm convinced from CC3 that like Rhys is a good guy.
No! No!
I mean, I'm not
feral!
He was feral. And he was wrong in CC3, but like, do I think he's gonna do something bad to Prithian? I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, I don't think he would purposely. I think if his Valg is taking over, he's gonna have. I think he's going to have. What is the trope? I can't even think of the name of it now, where like you have this character who's battling both sides of their personality, like the good and the bad. I think he's gonna be like that morality trope where his Valg is taking over and he's basically trapped in his body, unable to stop it. So it's like he's there, but he's not there. I think that would be so
Ooh, Sarah, that would be like really interesting.
Kind of like a possession, like how the Valg possessed Dorian.
Yeah.
Dorian was there, but he wasn't there. I think that's what's gonna happen to Rhys, especially because people are saying Dorian's his ancestor. One of his ancestors.
Do you feel like Dorian is one of his ancestors?
No,
based off
I
your
still
readings?
think it's Maeve. I still think it's Maeve. 100%.
Really?
I think.
Oh my gosh, I'm like freaking
I
out.
actually also saw another theory where someone said Dorian might be the Archeron's ancestor, and that's why they have raw magic, or had raw magic as humans, the way Dorian kind of did.
Well, and they do have blue eye. Two of them have blue eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about Manon. I haven't met her yet.
She
So
has
I don't know
gold.
what eye color she
She has
has.
the gold eyes of the Valg King, remember?
The gold eyes, that's right. Holy shit, that would be kind of cool actually if Dorian was the Archeron. It would be cool.
Because if they were already witches too,
Yeah.
Dorian and
Dude,
Manon.
that would be Dorian and Manon's fucking line. If the next
So
Hog
like
book
it would have to be Dorian and Manon, and then whatever trickle down, and then that weird
Yes.
Fey warrior trickle down into the Archerons, right?
Yeah, like and I don't know who the Fey warrior is. I feel like everyone's like, oh, it was
It can't be Celine. Because even if it was Celine, that means like they have the same ancestor as Reese. That's still a little too close for comfort for me.
I know. And then I thought it was the Fey warrior was Aelin, but I was like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know, maybe kind of. Like it could have been Aelin, but at the same time, no. I don't know. It's really weird. I don't
The
know.
fact
You've
that
read
it
a
had to
lot
be
more.
a female too, like who the fuck?
Yeah,
Ugh. I'm getting so annoyed.
I know.
Anyways, I'm annoyed that Reese is the only one who knows the fucking unlocking spell.
But didn't it unlock for her regardless? Like it unlocks and she doesn't
she
need
can
to know
summon
the
it whenever she
unlocking
wanted,
spell.
regardless.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved that. And then we have Azriel's fight with Feyre, which I love so much.
I love it. And I thought that was super annoying how she was like
Like
trying to
hell
calm her
I
down.
will. I love him.
I know.
She's your high lady. What she says is law. He was so mad. As eyed him and eyed Feyre, determined that they were an immovable unit, an impenetrable wall against which his fury would only break again and again. And then we have this. In the taut silence, Helion nodded to the bright hall beyond the room. I would like to remove myself from the mask's odious presence and perhaps enjoy your palace. It's been a long while since I was in a place of such quiet. If you'll allow it, I'll stay here for an hour or two. And then Reese says, something bothering you at home? And then it just goes back to Cassian talking to Nesta. I fucking hate that shit.
She does it all the time though. She does it all the time. Like goes real close to like the juicy stuff and then she's like, this is for my next book.
It's like that commercial. I caught you $1. Almost got it.
Because you know that's going to be in the next ACOTAR book is Helion and whatever the hell he's going through.
It's the fucking mate bond. I swear. Because he just saw Lady Autumn at the meeting, like the last book. I swear to God. Ugh, but that shit pisses me off so badly.
Oh, I know. I feel like it's like a not to the same extent, but the like what Lorcan did type thing where it's like people are like, tell us.
You might not like this part, but do you remember how later on Nesta says like, oh, I'm your blade or whatever, and then after that Cassian's like, I'm your blade, and it was like the whole fucking thing. So this made me so proud of her. Cassian asked Nesta, what are you reading today? A Brief History of the Great Sieges by Ossian. He almost stumbled a step, not a romance. I realized after you left me the dance of battle that there's a great deal left for me to learn. Last night I asked the house to give me something you might read. Why? She tucked the book under an arm. What's the point in learning fighting techniques if I don't know their true purpose and uses? You would train me into a weapon and I'd be just that, someone else's weapon. I want to know how to wield it myself, and others. Queen!
Well,
Queen! She ain't your weapon, Reese and Cassian. Fuck off. She is a queen in her own right. She will wield herself as she sees fit. Which she did with the mask, and Reese was pissed, and Cassian was pissed. Fuck off.
they were.
It's her call.
They were pissed. Yeah.
You plan on leading an army, Ness? Not an army, but perhaps a small unit of females. She was dead
Ugh.
serious. Okay, I hate that. I hate when he fucking undermines her in his head. He was like,
What?
he goes, she was dead serious. Yeah. Why? Why wouldn't you take her
Well,
seriously?
oh my goodness.
He's like, the
I'm
priestesses. I don't know if they'd join, but there are others out there, I'm sure, who might. I'm immortal now, or as close to it as possible. I have nothing but time to plan far into the future. So, like, he thought it was stupid. Fuck you.
he didn't. No, he didn't.
She's
He was
dead
just like
serious.
he's like who like I think he was surprised because at first she wasn't into it, right? She like didn't want to train. So there was
Yes.
surprise there. I wouldn't say that. I would say that. And then he's kind of like, okay, wait, like what army? And I think you have a really good point because this is it has to be foreshadowing. For later,
So
right?
excited. I'm so excited.
Nesta riding into battle on a Pegasus. Pretty
Oh
freaking
my
badass.
god. Oh
With
my
her
god.
crown, with the crown and the mask. I know.
Gwydion and Ataraxia. Reese needs to give her her motherfucking blades back. I'm still annoyed that he fucking has them.
Yeah, I agree. He gave her the sword, and then Eris was given the other thing, and then we have the third one out somewhere.
They have no, remember they have the dagger from Eris back because Azriel takes it back when he saves him from Brielin.
I totally forgot about that. I
Yeah.
thought Eris still had it.
So he has her Kingmaker sword and her dagger.
They're at the desk, and the boys are all like,
Yeah.
"Open it up!"
Yeah. That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a little break. It says the High Lord and High Lady of the Night Court had faced off against the Shadow Singer this afternoon and emerged triumphant. Perhaps triumphant wasn't the right word, but the argument had ended with Azriel grudgingly agreeing not to spy on Brielin for the time being and brooding all throughout dinner. Give him
I love
a fucking
Azriel.
win. Give him a fucking win. Come on.
I know he's just down on everything right now.
Then we have pages of Nessian sex again.
Oh, my favorite.
Okay, I know you're gonna yell at me for this
Oh no.
because of course my head immediately goes to Tanwyn. It might just be stupid, but hear me out.
Okay, I'm
Because
listening.
what else? Because what else? It says God's sex with Nesta was like ... He didn't let himself dwell on comparisons as he sat in Reese's office next to Amryn and Azriel. What comparisons?
So funny is that when I read that line, I never thought of him comparing it to another person, like a specific person.
He didn't let himself dwell on comparisons. Oh. Mm-hmm.
So
You know,
are
the
you
girl that they had where they had to fucking tie him to a wagon so he wouldn't go help her as he was going feral.
Oh my God. So you're saying that that sentence is literally him comparing sex with Nesta to sex with Tanwyn?
What else? What other
Well,
comparison?
that really upsets me. Actually, that like disgusts me. That
And
if
like
that's the case.
Valkyries, like, come on.
Is there any other way that can be interpreted? Because that's like really upsetting to me.
I was immediately like, what other girl? What other girl? And then I was like, duh, fucking Tanwyn.
What have we asked anyone else? Like what?
He didn't let himself dwell on
You know what?
comparison.
I want to
What
do.
other
I want to.
comparison?
Well, what? Because I always thought he was just like it was like unlike anything. It's like unlike anything I've ever had before. I don't know. Like I thought he was trying to like place like how good it. You know.
I don't know. Because
Wait, can
literally later on, he's like looking all sad when Gwen brings up the Valkyries, and then when he sees the book on her nightstand, he's all stormy-eyed. And I'm like, and then like a chapter after that, he's like, she was bold-hearted and had a smile like a storm. Like, yes. Cassian.
Wait a second. Can we take that quote and ask the group chat what they think about it?
Christ.
I
Yeah.
want to see. I just want to
Fine.
see what people say.
Should I
Okay.
like post it and be like, what do you think he's comparing it to?
Yes.
Okay. I'm screenshotting it right now.
Will you please? I want to see.
Or should I put it on my story with like a question thing?
Both. Can we
Okay.
do both so that I can see the immediate and then
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know why I didn't think of it like that.
I was like, ooh, he comparing her to Tanwin.
Because if I'm being honest, that like grosses me out.
He's Cassian. Can I just? He's Cassian.
Well, you say he's Cassian, but like he was the best one, and that just like that just cheapens him. That quote right there. I never thought of it like that.
Cassian is the. Never mind.
I know. Don't say it. Don't say it because then you're gonna get the fandom after you with that Cassian theory.
I did a reel, and the sound was like, men always get offended when you call them a boy, and they're like, I'm not a boy, I'm a man. No, you're just a bitch, but I was trying to be nice. So I did it for Cassian.
Died.
I said Cassian always gets mad when you call him a boy, and I put, I'm not a boy, I'm a grown warrior. And then I put, no, you're just a bitch, but I was trying to be nice.
Dude, I will never get over. Do you remember that one Instagram post where that user was like, shh, you're gonna like I think I'll
say it.
But it was like, shh, you're gonna get the girl with that Cassian theory. There's attention on here. I read it and I was like dying. It was so funny. It's so good. It's so good.
And of course, the minute they say it, it's like a summons, and then I see their fucking reel. Like, why are you talking about me, bitch? I can't hear you.
And then you commented wondering. That was so funny. I sat there. I was dying.
Like, I put, oh, hey, it's me.
No,
or what did I put? What I
did? You said I've been summoned.
Oh yeah, I did. I said I've been summoned. There was another one where they were talking about like my problematic take or something, and I just used a Taylor Swift lyric, and I put, "It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me."
Dead, fucking dead, Melanie. It's so good.
I can be
I'm
funny.
Sorry. You're always funny. I don't know what you're talking about. You crack me up, but never mind.
Anyways, then yeah, the scene with the blades. Amryn again and her fucking.
Oh, Amryn, what are you gonna do,
Amryn? I'm
Amryn?
so confused on what Reese knows and what he doesn't know. I'm so confused.
I know you and I battle about that. Like
I don't think he knows everything, but I think he does know a good scope of things, but not.
Wait a second.
No, I don't think he knows anything about Celine or anything.
Okay.
I think he knows a little bit about his power, maybe a little tiny bit about the history, but his mother did keep him away from his father as much as possible. So I just reread that actually earlier, everything about his mom, because I was curious.
Did you?
Yeah. Because I was fighting. Earlier I was arguing with someone on my reel where she was like, you wanted a soldier and I wanted a father, or whatever, that reel that I put with Nyx and Reese, and obviously people were pissed. And I'm like, you really don't think he's not gonna send him to the Illyrian war camps like his mother did with him? It's tradition, but when Tamlin does it, it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, he's totally gonna overrule Feyre and send him to the fucking Illyrian training camps or whatever, because that's what his mom did to him. And he's like, oh, Philip's character. But like, he literally got fucking lashed as an 8-year-old. Like, child abuse much?
I'll be curious to see how she writes it, because she loves
If she does, she'll probably end the series before Nyx is 8. Let's be real.
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if she's gonna be aging up next gen. You know, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, how old are they gonna be when we see them? I don't know.
No, it's so weird. I don't know. But anyways, Reese straightened. Nesta hammered the blades. All three, Cassian said. First the sword, then the dagger, then the great sword. Reese and Amryn exchanged a look.
Oh,
Cassian demanded what? Reese asked Amryn, "Is it possible?" Amryn gazed at the blades. It has been such a long time, but yes. What are you talking about? Someone
how
please
crazy!
explain, Azriel said, peering at the three blades from a safe distance. Thank you, Azriel. He's like, the fuck? Cassian forced himself to sit perfectly still as Reese dragged a hand through his black hair. This is the Tog reference that we missed because we didn't read Tog. Once the High Fae were more elemental, more given to reading the stars and crafting masterpieces of art and jewelry and weaponry. Their gifts were rarer, more connected to nature, and they could imbue objects with that power. Cassian instantly knew where this was headed. Nesta put her power in those swords. No one has been able to create a magic sword in more than 10,000 years, Amryn said. The last one made, the great blade Gwydion, vanished around the time the last of the Trove went missing. Elemental Fae. So how come only Tamlin kept his raw side of that? I'm so curious.
Oh, I'm so curious.
He's the only one that kept his raw shapeshifting.
I know he did.
What the fuck?
And they hate him for it. All of the courts are like, oh, Talon.
Yeah.
And all the Fae hate him.
But like they could imbue objects with that power. Like, is he just talking about like the first generation, like after the Asteri, or is he really talking about the Tog people? Because I'm only on Empire of Storms. I don't think they've actually.
They made a weapon already?
Actually, yeah, Aelin does actually put her fire through her sword when she's using it. She does.
Oh,
She
I
does.
gotta
She
catch
does. I
up.
forgot. She
Freaking A.
does. Yeah, she does. I forgot about that almost. That's
I'm so bummed out.
crazy. That's crazy. So, do we think that um it was just like Daglin and then like a certain type of like lesser Fae, and then the actual High Fae are from Tog, like all the High Fae are from Tog? But then why would Rigulus say there's two different?
Yeah,
So
no.
confusing.
No, because
But
if
this
you
is
can't.
talking about like the Tog Fae. Unless
It's funny because
some came and then I don't know. It's so
I don't know.
confusing.
I almost feel like could you also interpret that as Thea and Celine, because when we are looking at Thea and Fionn, they
No,
made
'cause
a bunch of weapons.
it mentions Fionn after this. So it says,
Oh.
"This sword isn't Gwydion," Cassian said, well aware of the myths regarding the sword. It had belonged to a true Fae High King in Prythian, as there had been in Hybern.
I totally forgot about that quote. As there had been in Hybern another king.
True Fae High King.
So there were two high kings?
So, no, weren't they talking about the King of Hybern?
Oh, they are talking. That's right.
What the fuck? What the fuck? How old? Oh, Hybern was thousands of years old, right?
Okay, so
Yeah.
there was more than
So
one, but there was
Hybern,
more than one king, and at the same time. So was Hybern alive during Fion's
I don't
reign?
know. We don't know. As there had been in Hybern. And then he goes on to talk about Fionn. He had united the lands, its people, for a while with that sword. Peace had reigned until he had been betrayed by his own queen, blah, 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 lost the sword. The lands fell into darkness once more, never again to see another high king, only high lords who ruled the territories that had once answered to the king. So, Hybern was the king of Hybern. Fionn was the king of Prythian. And then, so there were two kings and a queen then.
Yeah. So, okay, wait a second. So were there more than two kings? Because if we have two kings and a queen, that's like a weird breakdown of land if you're like looking at the map and
And
like
like, what about the
Hybern.
fucking continent? Like, what was the continent? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, didn't Hybern, and that must be how Hybern and Spring got together because they both were near the human lands, and the human lands weren't given to the humans until the next war. So
Yeah.
that was their territory, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why.
We
Ah.
need the maps. We need to like I really
We need
need to
the
like
history.
say
We need a fucking timeline.
I know. I bet you at the very end she's gonna like well, of course she's going to. She's gonna give us like all the timelines and all the Easter eggs we missed and
Ugh, fucking Amryn. Gwydion is
I,
gone. She said a shade sadly. Amryn. Amryn.
you
Or
know what I
has
used to think
or
was
has
that
been
Amber.
gladly missing for millennia. What the fuck? I don't know. I don't know. You're weird. You're weird. This is something new, Asriel said. Asriel said. What the fuck is going on in the Night Court? Azrael said Nesta created a new magic sword. Azrael knows shit too. As we said.
It's that shadow singing.
Yes, Amryn said. Only the great powers could do that. Who are the great powers? She didn't say gods. She said the great powers. Who are the great powers? Are they the shadows that were next to the cauldron with Fionn making the swords and Oleana? Oh, that was my other point. That was my other point. We see Oleana in Tog, so how the fuck did she get to Prithian?
Wait a second. You see Oleana and Tog. Did you really? Is she in there?
First book, she's the one doing the service.
What?
She's the one doing the service when
She was
Aylin's falling
not.
asleep on Kale's shoulder. You read Tog.
I did. Hold on.
I was
One
like,
second.
how the fuck did she get to Prithian? And when? Because we don't have the Tog to Prithian crossing, which
Oh
was before this shit. So Aelin is definitely the past. Thank you very much.
No, what if no, because they could be traveling between worlds at the same time. Like you said, because even in CC3, there's evidence that the priestesses are sneaking around. So the priestesses, led by Clotho, fucking Clotho, who I bet has
Fucking
connections
Clotho.
to all
Fucking
three
Clotho.
worlds. All three worlds.
Meryl, Oleana. She knows all the shit.
They all know it. They all know it. Throw in a glass. Throw in a glass. Okay. That was like what chapter was that?
I have no fucking clue.
I'll find it. I just want to read this again because I did not realize that was the case.
I'm like I'm pretty fucking damn sure it was Oleana. I'm like looking her up. Hold on.
I'm looking.
Or maybe someone said it was Oleana. Hold on. Fuck.
I was like, did I
seriously? It just calls her the High Priestess. Fuck. I thought it was Oleana. The High Priestess walked onto the stone platform and raised her hands above her head. The folds of her midnight blue gossamer robe fell around her, and her white hair was long and unbound. An 8-pointed star was tattooed upon her brow in a shade of blue that matched her gown, its sharp lines extending to her hairline. It's fucking Oleana. 8-pointed star?
Did it say that Oleana had an 8-pointed star on her brow?
They didn't say anything about her, but I find it weird that she's wearing a blue gown and has white hair like Meryl.
What page are you on? Hold on.
I'm on the Kindle version, chapter 37.
Yeah.
Today, the priestess said, is the day on which we celebrate the end and the beginning of the great cycle. Today is the day on which the great goddess gave birth to her firstborn Loomis, lord of the gods. With his birth, love was brought into Aurelia, and it banished the chaos that arose from the gates of the word. It's
the chaos that arose from the gates of the word.
yeah. 8-pointed star,
I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
white hair and blue gown like Meryl. Meryl had her fucking hood up, didn't she?
I think that she did because Nesta was commenting on her hair.
So what if and then like the fact that they said that Meryl just appeared one day. Gwen was like, "Oh yeah, when she first came from where? Where?" She's going from, I don't know. She was like here and then she was there and then she was in Crescent City. This has to be, I don't know.
So okay, so like when you think about it, so she's doing experiments or something. I don't know. Like
She was obsessed with the idea of all different worlds.
like Meryl's learning to go in between all of the worlds.
Yeah, like the 8-pointed star is obviously starborn. Starborn can make portals.
Yeah, yeah.
But then we have her saying like, "Oh, I'm descended from the god of the western wind."
I know.
Like,
I know, and I was confused by that because
unless this is Meryl's ancestor.
it could be Meryl's ancestor, but also the 8-pointed star in Tog seems oddly placed because there's, from what I've read, I haven't seen the 8-pointed star any other place besides this.
But you know, it's weird because we have those priestesses with the 8-pointed star, and then we have the priestesses like Ianthe with the phases of the moon.
I know.
So what's the difference?
What is the difference? And I wonder if there's more to the Ianthe storyline of how she felt that the priestesses should be ruling instead of the High Lords. Like, is this because
what
the
if
priestesses...
what if the original high priestesses were the ones descended from the gods?
Yeah.
Because Meryl isn't Meryl? No, Meryl's just a priestess, right? She's not a high priestess yet.
Yeah.
She's probably vying for Ianthe's spot, I would guess. Although
Well,
I think they're gonna pick Gwen. I think they're gonna pick Gwen. I did a video today where I pointed out a quote, and it said that Gwen told Nesta to go up the ramp or whatever with a voice of authority. I was like, 12th High Priestess, right there. Right there. That's how she's gonna get out of the library. They're gonna be like, I bet they're gonna ask her to be the 12th High Priestess, and Meryl's gonna be fucking rip shit. She's gonna be so pissed. She's gonna be so pissed. And then I said, which really quick, because I know I kind of,
no, you're good.
I
like
stepped off the track a little. But then I said, because it was in the scene where like the darkness creeps up on them, like Adis and Apollyon, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
And I thought about this after we filmed that, and I had it in my notes, and I finally did a reel about it. But Gwen's invoking stone is what pushed the darkness back, right? What if the invoking stones have dragon fire in them?
Dude, that's freaking awesome. Are you kidding? That's like the coolest. Now my mind's blown. I can't even think about anything for the rest of the night.
That's why Bryaxis didn't fucking bother them. Because Bryaxis had to be a creature from hell. So she pushed back fucking Adis and Apollyon with her invoking stone because it contains dragon fire. That's why it like glowed and then like dimmed after they left.
So cool. So cool. What? How? Okay, but wait a second. How are the priestesses getting dragon fire in Prithian?
Who bought Ariadne? Was it Meryl?
Who bought Ariadne? Fucking good question.
Who wanted Ariadne?
Who bought Ariadne? But more importantly, you're telling me people have been moving between worlds this entire fucking time.
Fucking Meryl.
And the High Lords don't know about it?
Unless Reese knows and he just hasn't fucking told anybody. He didn't fucking tell anybody about Bryce.
But we talked about time and time again. He was not surprised. He was just like, what's up? What's your name? Hi.
But then he was pissed. Oh, you should have killed her when she opened the portal.
I
What about the
know.
first time?
And she's your cousin, bro. She's your legit.
That's the thing. He knows the history. He doesn't know the bloodline. So he doesn't know she's his fucking cousin. He doesn't know about Celine. He just knows that somewhere in his bloodline they could fucking open portals, I bet.
What? I just like
So
seems out. It just seems out of character for him to not know.
but Azrael would know if he knew.
No, you putting. Oh my gosh, you put so much emphasis on like things that Azrael
He's
knows.
a spy master.
Oh my gosh.
Nuala and Caradwin, Rhys hates them for a reason. You can't tell me that he hasn't caught them spying on him for ass. You can't tell me that. There's a reason he fucking hates them. He probably can't send them.
So like, here's my thing though. Okay, so what the hell? What's going on?
What's going on?
This is the most confusing thing ever because you have Rhysand who has like Fae
Fucking everything.
But like he's
Illyrian,
a mutt.
High Fae, Witch, Starborn, Valg. He's fucking everything.
I just find it odd that like Adis is popping in, making appearances.
Apollyon too. It was both of them.
And Apollyon in Prithian, and Rhys doesn't know people. So people are like traveling.
The fucking library is the fucking pit. Just like I've been saying, Thanatos in Hewn City. Hewn City is the ravine.
I was gonna say this brings it back to like the theory we had like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's not that Rhys, it's not that like he might not be a principal. That's fine.
I put on the chat today, or on the chat that I have with you and Miriam today, I said, what if Thanatos is who created Hewn City? Because remember, we were talking about that weird ass line that Bryce says, how she's like, so you're like an architect? Remember? Because they're saying how like, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I didn't talk. I don't remember that architect.
Yeah, when they were talking about how, hold on, I'm gonna find it.
Was it when they were discussing Hunt and his mate?
It's when they first, no, it was when they first got to the Hell Realm with the black salt.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck? And they see like the big cities of hell or whatever, but he's like, we're not taking you to our main cities. We're not that stupid or whatever. And she's like, it's like really fancy or whatever. And they're like, yeah, Thanatos made most of it. And Bryce is like, I wouldn't have taken you for an architect. Or she says something really snarky like that. And I was like, that's really weird. Yeah, it was really weird. And where the fuck is it?
It's weird. It's also weird. And none of it makes sense either. Because like Kier is scared of Rhys, but then they have Thanatos. So you would think they'd be more scared of Thanatos than Rhys.
Here it is. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So it's, Thanatos sniffed toward Bryce, almost as canine as the hounds in the shadows.
I remember this.
Starlight smells fresher. Bryce said nonchalantly, new deodorant. Ha ha ha. My brother Adis said, nodding to Thanatos, has long excelled at crafting things. Why is Hewn City called the Hewn City? It was crafted by fucking Thanatos. That's what he's there. They call him Lord Thanatos, like High Lord, but yet
but here's the problem.
Steward.
But here's the problem, though, is that everyone's under Rhys. It's just who rules it?
Bryce says, funny, I didn't take you for a quilter. I could have sworn she said architect, but that's still funny, too.
A quilter?
But he's crafting shit. Like, he's making the fucking cities in hell. Out of what? Rock, right? Rock? Whatever they have in fucking hell. Bloodstone, I think it's called, or something like that. Don't quote me. I don't know. Maybe that's from another book. I'm confused. But he crafted the cities in hell. It would be nothing for him to craft Hewn City out of the fucking mountain. And is that why it's connected to the prison? Because remember, the Princes of Hell wanted to form an allyship with the Starborn to destroy the Asteri.
Damn, dude. That was pretty good. That's pretty good
I was like, that's why it's
connection there.
connected. Duh. And Thea being Adis's lover, we didn't know what all of their plans were. Adis is like, oh, let me get my brother fucking in here to help us. Fucking duh.
Cannot, like, the fact that you put those two together, I was just like, who knows why Dusk is connected to Huge City? Who knows? Well done, Melanie.
I was literally just thinking, and then it was like my brain was just like puzzle piece. I was like, that's why. Duh. Hada. He had
That's
to
wild.
get Thanatos in there to create a city because what we know from Reese is that they housed all of the bad monsters, creatures, people in Hewn City so that it wouldn't touch the rest of the court. And then eventually, or maybe at the same time, maybe it was Adis who made Valaris. Who knows? I mean, Reese does say it was his ancestor. And like the wards are like keyed to him as his ancestor. Maybe Adis and Thea made Valaris. And Thanatos helped them by making Hewn City.
Fuck, I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to ask you a question and now I can't remember it. So wait a second. Okay, here's the problem that I have. Hold on. I just want to look up a name real quick and just like see what it means.
I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I can't believe the shit that comes out of my mouth and I kind of shock myself. But that's exactly what happened. Adis and Thea asked him to carve something to house the bad people, and then they fucking made Valaris. Thea's Reese's ancestor. Duh.
Okay, and what I get confused about is that like
Wait, I'll take it a step further. Adis and Thanatos and Apollyon are kind of like the trio, right? Of the brothers.
Yeah.
Adis and Thea made Valaris, right? Thanatos made Hewn City. Fucking Apollyon, the library. Hence Bryaxis. He's the one that put the portal to hell there. And that's where they're coming out of. That's how they get back to Prythian, is the fucking pit in the library. That's why Bryaxis was there as a guard in the pit. That's their portal. Because without Thea around, Thea was the one summoning them with black salt, right?
Yeah.
So they had to kind of figure out a way to get back and forth without her having to summon them all the time.
I'm just getting so thrown off because it's like they are really the heroes, like Adis and Apollyon and Thanatos. I'm like,
They are,
but then like the Fae aren't bad.
No.
And
because Thea realized her mistake, and that's why she summoned them, because she needed help from bigger powers, and she realized that hell were the people helping planets drive them out. So that's why she summoned Adis or whatever, and then they realized they were mates, and then obviously Adis was like, oh, I'm gonna help my mate. So he probably brought in his two bros. Thanatos made Hewn City, Apollyon made the library. Boom,
what
boom,
is
boom.
What is Adis doing hanging out in Prythian? That's what I want to know.
So why is Adis in the library? I had to write this down before I forgot. So I said Adis showed up again, specifically in the library because he probably heard whispers that a new starborn heir was chosen, Nesta, for Prythian, and wanted to suss her out. He was trailing Nesta when she was trying to shelve the books, remember? it was trailing Nesta. She just happened to bump into Gwen, who had the invoking stone of fucking dragon fire, and was like, no, and then they retreated. They were following Nesta.
He was following Nesta, wasn't he? So I wonder if he was like, does she have Thea's light? Does she, like, he could
Exactly. Adis was probably like, yo, Apollyon, the next Thea, they chose the next Thea in fucking Prithian. Because remember how Amryn always says, the stone talks, the wind whispers, this whatever. The Princes of Hell have that whatever sense too. They would be able to sense that power coming into power.
I swear to God that like Azrael has to be a descendant of one of them, because they had the shadows. They had those shadows, like Adis and them.
Well, see, I'm afraid, like I said, I'm afraid that he's descended from Koshi, because Koshi has the same shadows. And he's in a stereo.
Damn it. So another thing I was thinking about, I was like, okay, like why is he in there? Is Adis like, but we have really big players in the library. You have Clotho, who is old as crap. You have Meryl there, but also like Reese is there. And is Reese sneaking down into the library and meeting with Adis? Or is it all truly because of Nesta? I don't know. Is Adis checking up on Clotho?
Remember that Clotho was the one who tells Reese, actually, because, well, tells Reese and Farah, because Farah asks, why doesn't Free Access, like, attack you guys? Like, why doesn't it come up and, like, whatever? And Clotho is the one who's like, oh, well, it knows that we've already lived our worst nightmares. No, bitch, it's because you have dragon fire. You sus ass. You liar. And that is why you're friends with Moore, okay?
So what I need to know is which court is hiding the dragon? Is it the Autumn Court? Is the Autumn Court hiding a dragon because they're all about fire and stuff like that, and renewal and rebirth?
So that I'm so glad you brought that up, because I just wrote another note that's kind of like that.
It's gotta be. And how does the Autumn Court know about it? Is the dragon that's being housed there telling the Autumn Court Fae about things? I don't know.
So
could Eris and Ariadne be mates? And no, she has that thing with that one guy.
Yeah. So I don't really know. We'll put this together. I don't really know how Autumn falls into this yet, but I know that they know stuff. So yeah. I was thinking about how I said Thanatos crafted Hewn City, right?
Yes.
I said,
yeah, which is
I said, obviously Thanatos crafted Hewn City, because what's carved on the pillars and the throne?
Yeah, those beasts. It's
his
the beast.
His hell beast, but what else? Do you remember what else?
It's the ones that Bryce sees on the bone quarter.
Yeah, but do you know what else is carved on the pillars and the throne? The fucking Ouroboros.
Is it?
It is. And the Ouroboros is a dragon who eats its tail, and you know what it represents? The eternal cycle, which is what the priestesses represent.
What does that have to do with the anything? The other? It's just a
well, no, because so if their symbol is a dragon eating its tail, then, like, I don't know, a dragon that's eating its tail can't exactly breathe fire, right? Hence the fire-breathing dragon being their downfall. I don't know, it's just a thought I had.
I kind of like that thought. I feel like you're definitely onto something. I feel like there's more to the Ouroboros than we know. Like Feyre.
Because, like, why was Amarantha's sigil a sleeping dragon?
It's weird. It's weird. Where is the dragon? Well, we know
upon that black throne, which I won't talk about.
I was so mad at you when I read it. I saw it and I was like, don't look. close your eyes, don't read that wiki page. And then of course I'm like, I kind of perused it and I was like, I'm stopping right now.
I'm not going to mention it, but for people who get frustrated at us for doing what SJM does and cutting off our theories, I did a reel about Wordstone. If you want to check my Instagram, she doesn't want to talk about it right now.
I don't want to talk about it.
It's on my Instagram as a reel.
Interesting. This is very interesting.
That was like puzzling to me. So I was like, okay, Thanatos carved hewn city. It's literally his symbol, the fucking beast. And then like the Ouroboros. So is the Ouroboros like the symbol of not hell, but like
could it be the gods?
It's the eternal cycle. So the end and the
Right.
beginning and the void, like the cauldron and like all of this stuff kind of comes together. So it's like the beginning and the end.
The end.
So maybe heaven and hell? Balance? It's a symbol of balance.
You know what I used to think?
Which actually, what I didn't mention is that in my theory that I had sent a 5-minute long audio message to you about.
That was a pretty crazy theory.
Is that the mother had to pick another starborn heir for Prithian to keep the balance. There you go. Balance.
So, okay, here's the deal. I'm just like looking at this and I'm just like thinking, okay, do you remember when
Ouroboros is the front of the fucking CC3? Yeah, that's what the snakes are. I had a note saying, what are the snakes on the CC3 cover? That was literally one of my notes. It's the fucking Ouroboros. There you go.
So, okay, so wait a second. The Ouroboros, the snakes, is wrapped around. It's not eating its tail, but it's wrapped
in the
around
portals.
The goddess,
the mother,
the goddess, or whatever. Word. So, and we're talking a lot about like the gates.
So the portals are word gates.
They're word gates, but does it lead to one massive word gate?
The cauldron.
Where we're gonna meet all of the gods from Tog or something like that.
So
and that's why Word's on the covers, because that's the next book series is something of the gods, Twilight of the Gods. And remember she made that comment, she's like, the portals are gonna open up again.
Yeah. So I put something on the group and they were like, oh my god. So hear me out. So Aelin thought that she threw the gods into a hell realm. Now, the gods were terrified to go to hell. Why? Because hell is the enemy of the Asteri, right? The Asteri were terrified to go into hell. But when she opens the word gates, it's not, I don't think it, like, I'm not at that point, but I don't think it's an actual, like, city like hell. I think it's a black hole. Just like the black hole that Bryce opened up and threw the Asteri into. And do you fucking remember what Farah said about the cauldron and Akawar that we were slaving over and couldn't understand?
Say that one more time.
It was a void and a growth.
Yeah.
They thought that they were killing them when they threw them into the black hole. But when Reese dies, right, and returns to the void, he says, you know, it was before wherever we go, right? He was in like the liminal space, the void, before wherever they go, before they move on. Yeah. And he said that Amryn was still floating there. And he pulled her back out of the cauldron. So I said, what if the fucking Asteri, or like, what if the gods just fucking crawled out of the cauldron all those years ago? That's how the death gods are in Prithian. That's how the death gods in Koji are in Prithian. They went by different names. they have the black blood. And I'm like, what if the fucking Crescent City Asteri aren't dead? What if they're just floating in the cauldron?
Holy shit, dude.
And what if they come back to fucking help Toshi?
Oh, poor Reese. Poor Reese, you are screwed.
No, but this is the thing. This is the villain arc, because if his Valk takes over, he's gonna be on their side.
In fact, the differentiation between Valg versus Aster, like it's not clear.
They're the same species, though. I'm convinced it's like high versus lesser, kind of like the Fae.
There's still so much arguing about that. Don't you agree with that? Like we don't. It's very.
Yeah. But like hell, like
sure.
I don't know, because they were like terrified of the hell realm, so like they're not from hell. People were like, "Oh well, the Valg is from hell." They're not. They're not. They were terrified of hell.
I thought the Valg was from hell too.
No. And they eat people the same way the Asteri eat people, and they possess people the way the Asteri possess people. So
I don't know.
I don't want to delve into my whatever wordstone theory, but like if Reese was born part Valg, he wouldn't need one really to be possessed. He would just have to be somewhat weakened. And if coming back to life, like, weakened him, because it had to have taken something. You don't, that's what it is. It's a bargain to come back to life. The only reason, well, Farah's was her humanity. Nesta and Elaine's was her humanity. Aylin's was her power. So
what's it gonna take for Reese?
Reese didn't lose his powers that we know of, so what the fuck did he lose? What did he lose? I keep puzzling over it. Like, he hasn't misted since. So if his misting was a starborn power, like maybe, I don't know, maybe it not took, well, maybe it did take his starborn portion of his power, but
I know, I'm like trying to figure out.
Lessened it, or maybe the price was just a harder battle with his Valk. Because you have to remember, because you have to remember as well that the magic was already pissed at him for breaking the bargain at the High Lords meeting, which resulted, I think, personally, in Nyx having wings, because it was going to kill them all. Because he says, like, the magic is going to take retribution in the form of a life, so it would have been his life, Farah's life, the two people that broke the bargain with the magic at the meeting first, whatever, and Nyx, obviously, but he had wings.
And that's why we see the bone carver without the wings, is because we didn't know
it was before
at
the
that
meeting.
point
Yeah.
that the magic, okay, that
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So then what?
And the bone carver again says to Reese, "You were always my favorite." The Weaver, when Farah, I just read the scene. The Weaver, when Farah throws the brick at her face, she spurts black blood. Yup.
So
the bone carver is her twin, and he's telling Reese, "You were my favorite," on top of his mother going to the Weaver, giving her the ring, coming out unscathed. What?
Oh,
Is it because he's related? Because her son is related to them? You're my favorite kin?
That relation. So that relation was through the mother and not the father then, right? Is that like,
Well, It's through both.
So
It's through
much
both
information.
because I think that the father was starborn slash, if their ancestor is from, I think the father's line was Maeve's line. Maeve was a Valg queen, remember?
I do.
So I think trickle down, trickle down, trickle down. I think the father was part starborn, part Valg prince. But because it was so watered down, it was only part of him. It didn't manifest in him. Neither did the starborn. So that's why he was terrified of Reese. Now, if his mom was a witch, as we said, necromancy witch with the six-pointed star in her ring, witches are half fae and half Valg.
Okay.
If his mom was Illyrian, that basically just means that an Illyrian bred with a fae, right?
Okay.
So Illyrian bred with a fae, and then witch bred with whatever to make his mom. So his mom would have been Illyrian witch part Valg. So if her part Valg and the father's part Valg combined manifested in Reese
Interesting.
because he got it from
Interesting.
both sides of his family. That's why he's terrified of his beast form, of it taking over, which I've said he says all the time. He's afraid of it. He's afraid of losing himself to it. And that's what like when Dorian is possessed, he's terrified of what it's going to do to people. He's like, all the horrors that I saw myself do to people, like he was literally possessed. He was there. He was seeing everything that he was doing, but he couldn't stop it.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I gotta get into talk now more. I always say that. And I
So
really truly haven't read in a while
that's
though.
why
So
his father was fucking terrified of him. And that's why he also didn't want Reese to link up with either Tamlin or with Cassian or Azriel. Because Reese with Azriel, I mean, Reese was a force in and of himself. He was stronger than his father. He didn't want him to take over him. But him with Cassian and Azriel and Tamlin, please. Not to mention the sister that he got rid of. Because the sister would have been the Prithian starborn heir. Because it's females. I think
she
that,
would have been the sister would have ruled the Dust Court.
yeah. And
And
which
she
means she would have
would have
stolen land from him.
woken up the whole island.
Hmm. Yep.
Oh, dude, it's so
And the
good.
dads were super misogynistic.
Yeah, all of them are.
He was like, no way. There's no way he did not know that Tamlin's father was going to come to try to kill them. Because do you remember how I said, how did they get into the Night Court
I
War?
know. I remember that. You know what? The baby just woke up. I gotta get going.
So I was in the middle of playing Scrabble with my sister today because she came over for dinner. She was gonna come over for lunch, but she had a soccer game. And so she came over for dinner. And when I tell you that in the middle of dinner, when my phone lit up, and I saw that someone sent me a Reddit post where Bloomsbury was having their little PR party of the year. And it was fucking spring court themed. I lost my shit. I'm not even kidding. I lost my shit. My sister was looking at me like I had 5 heads. And I had to call Olivia right away because I sent it to the group chat and Echo was like, oh my God, where's Olivia? I go, I have to call her.
Freaking out. Okay, first of all, tell me because I'm new to this, right? Like I'm slowly learning. What is a PR party? Tell me, what does this mean?
It's basically just a party for their employees, I think, like middle of the year when it's nice out, I would
Is
assume.
it okay?
They
Like a
pick like a
thank you to the
location and
employees?
I would assume so.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
So they picked the specific location that looked like the spring court and they had it ACOTAR themed, but it was spring court ACOTAR themed, and they were using hashtag ACOTAR, hashtag spring court, and they had like, you know, the books and bracelets and all this stuff, and like they would walk in and they had to pick an envelope, and that's what court they were a part of for whatever. And so then they had like a chalkboard, and it was like, write down your favorite quotes from ACOTAR or something. And when I tell you, the only two quotes on that board for the picture was the Tamlin quote about joy, which I have over here. Don't feel bad for one moment about doing what brings you joy.
I missed that. Shut up.
You missed that?
Oh my God. I'm literally gonna have a panic
I've been
attack.
looking for you. A Reese quote and a Tamlin quote from book one. Book one. What have we been saying?
Oh, Melanie.
What have we been saying?
Reese and Tamlin, I'm sorry. It has to be. I'm sorry, you guys. Like, I'm freaking out. I'm unwell. I'm looking back at this
screaming on the phone. We're like, I'm so emotional. It's crazy.
Wait, I did not read those quotes.
You didn't see it? It's on my.
Oh my God.
And they have literally the roses and the thorns.
Hey, but like, those are the only two quotes you guys are gonna put up there?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a freaking Easter egg?
It has to be. It has
Oh my
to
God.
be. After the ACOTAR quiz drop 2 days ago, with the Easter eggs of all the powers.
So what are you thinking about the Easter eggs of the quiz drop? Like, what crossed your mind on there? Because like,
so I posted on Instagram a picture of the quiz. It was like, who's your ACOTAR mate or whatever, and it's on her website. So it's an official quiz, which I have one really annoying thing about it, which we'll get into. But I posted it, and obviously it was Lucian, my baby.
I love that you got Lucian. I mean, I love that. Even though I was so messed up.
I was so excited. But then it says, which remember, ACOTAR themed quiz, right? ACOTAR themed quiz, not Crescent City, not Tog, ACOTAR themed quiz. Who's your ACOTAR mate? Choose a magical power. The list is as follows.
I know it's hard.
Seer, the ability to predict the future. We know that that's Elaine. Okay.
Yeah.
The power to manipulate nature. Who the fuck is that?
I swear it's Tamlin. I'm telling you, I think that's Tamlin.
You would think that he would do that already. I think it's going to be Tamlin's mate. I think it's Briar.
I will freak. Oh my God.
I think it's Briar. Because if he can manipulate the wind, and he's literally the High Lord of the Spring Court, and he's fallen, right? He's the fallen High Lord, whatever. Everything's in disarray. He's gonna need help or whatever, getting back up. His mate is going to fucking help him. Like Lucian and Elaine, yes, I guess. But his mate is kind of gonna help him, just like Reese helped Feyre. Reverse Reese and Feyre. Is this why there's a Reese quote and a Tamlin quote? Because everyone's saying they're foils of each other?
I swear to God, they are foils of each other.
So then it has to be Briar. There's no other person that she's introduced that could be his mate.
It's either or it could be a new character that we don't know of. Maybe Tamlin. Maybe Tamlin has a kid. I don't know.
But like,
I'm just throwing shit out there.
But like, she was the new character. The new characters, aside from the Valkyries, were Briar and Balthazar. Yeah. Those were already thrown in there, which again, I've gone over, like, there was no reason to put them in when they didn't need to be there.
The only thing that I'm wondering if she's gonna pull is like, is that Elaine's second power? Like, is Elaine gonna have all these powers?
There's another one that I think might be Elaine's power, actually, which I never thought of. Or I thought of it, but not for Elaine. Immense strength, which we know is Tamlin, because all through book 1 and 2 and even 3, oh, his brute strength. He has brute strength. He has brute strength. We know that that's Tamlin. Daemati is Phazand. Emotional manipulation.
I wasn't really thrown off by this. I don't think we know. I don't think we have seen a character that can do this yet.
Mhm. That is
Unless
like, which my first thought was, God fucking damn it, she's using something else from my goddamn book. Because I'm not going to tell you who, but eventually down the road, possibly in book 2, I have it planned out that there's going to be a character that has aura magic, which is emotional manipulation magic.
yeah, I love that. I love that. That's a great power. That's why you have to get your book out this year. I'm telling you, I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna hold you to it. At the end of this year, just like book 1, send it off, query for somebody.
But then my other question was, is it more? Because is that like a truth thing? Like, can she change how people feel about things? I don't know.
Or something that crossed my mind, is it Gwen? Is this Gwen's light singer abilities? If I know you hate that. I know you hate that theory.
No, I don't hate the theory that she's a light singer. I hate the theory that she's purposely being evil with it, because I don't think she knows.
She probably doesn't know. She probably but
like Lucian with the spell cleaving, I feel like he was like, oh shit, what did I just do? I feel like Gwen didn't notice because, again, it was like Nesta that was lured to the harp, and it was Clotho's choice in song. So really, Clotho knows stuff about him. Again.
Yeah.
Clotho knows fucking everything and isn't telling everyone.
Clotho
so like
knows
Gwen
everything.
is totally, she has no idea if that's her power. I don't really think it is though, because there were, I mean, people could be like, oh, that's how, Nesta got better with her and not her sisters or whatever. But then like Emery was part of that too, so I don't really see it. Because she had single scenes with Emery too, where she was fine.
Is more really emotional manipulation? I don't
just
feel
said
like
question mark Morgan.
I know. I don't feel like truth is like emotional manipulation. I feel like this might be a new character.
Well,
Actually.
so the way, which I've mentioned it, I think in like season 1, the way that I wrote the truth magic in my fic is that she can basically sense people's truths and then twist it around to like have it destroy themselves. So that's a kind of like emotional manipulation, but I don't know. So there's 2 already that we don't know.
So either we have 2 new characters that we're gonna meet, like with more being in Valahan.
I wouldn't be angry if we got Spring Court characters. Finally.
I would love Spring Court characters.
And also, like, is Braun and Hart still there? I kind of miss them.
Can we get an update on Braun and Hart, who were like Tamlin's 2 good friends that we never heard from again? And
they're his stupid friends. I was like, they are so gay. I'm like, I don't care.
I thought they were gay too. I thought they were gay.
But then they were like all over Ianthe, but like together. It was like weird. I don't know.
They
just doing, wanted like, an orgy with Ianthe.
Freaky things with Ianthe.
But like
they're like the threesome.
I miss them. They went to rescue Feyre with Lucian in ACOSF.
And they tried to befriend Feyre, if I remember correctly. Like they were like really nice to her, and she
he's like, you can go like on a walk with Braun and Hart or whatever, and she's like, me.
Yeah, she like wasn't into it.
She just didn't want to meet any of his friends. So like, I want, I don't know, I want like Spring Court families, and like I want Spring Court friends.
Melanie, I'm so excited to go back to the Spring Court. I don't think you understand. Like I get like really emotional. I don't know. I get emotional.
I know. Really it's like so. Oh my God. I don't know if it's like the nostalgia or just like the vibe of book 1, because I miss it so much. It was so much more fairy.
It was so. I thought the same thing. I was like, I think what I'm feeling is I'm feeling nostalgic of like opening up the first book for the first time and like meeting these characters and the story, and it was like I loved it.
Lucian's sassiness and Tamlin's like,
and you know what? I go back and I reread it, and I still fall in love with Tamlin. Like I don't care what people say, I still fall in love with him.
Can we just have somebody that like brushes him as like a beast? Like
Tamlin, I would
like I want Briar to just like curl up with his beast like in the middle of like the woods or whatever. I don't know. I feel like that's really cute.
First of all, also, I want to go off on a random tangent, but I promise it comes back full circle real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've seen on Prime Video, there's a new show out. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but it's called Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Okay, so long story. There's a character in it, and she's called a wild shape, and she changes animal forms to change. And I was watching, I was like, holy shit, it's Tamlin. It's Tamlin. And I was watching the story and I'm like, she's such a cool character because she can do so many things when she's fighting and stuff. And I'm like, I want to see Tamlin shift his shape.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like Sarah J. Maas realized after like the crossover with Crescent City that there is so much potential in everyone's different powers. And she was going back. And so like she was obviously looking at book 1 for Crescent City 3 and all of that. And everyone is just like, Tamlin could like shift anybody into anybody. Like he probably could have fucking helped with the pregnancy or whatever. Like he could shift into anything. Literally anything. He could shift anyone else into literally anything. Like people were like, someone on the group was like, why didn't he just like shift Reese into like a fucking fly and swat him? It's like,
hey, I know, like it's amazing to me. Because I know she was saying,
and someone put it was the quote, and I don't have it right now, but someone put the quote where Reese was like, he wasn't sure who would win in a fight if it was like him and Tamlin or whatever. And everyone's like, he's just telling Feyre that he's the most powerful High Lord. Like, do we actually have proof of that? Like, yeah, he can mist, but Tamlin could turn you into whatever the fuck he wanted to turn you into.
yes.
Right?
So, okay.
And then he wouldn't have access to that power. Like,
yes.
He could turn you into a fucking table lamp, bro.
I was watching that show today and I was like, holy shit, these scenes are so fucking cool to watch because she's fighting, right? You should watch it. She's like fighting and she's like a fly and then she's like a horse and then she's this weird, crazy beast and she's like swatting at people. And I was like, the potential of
Tamlin and the fucking Koji War.
Yes.
That's why Reese is like, we need him in this war. We need him in this war.
Show me Tamlin as like a giant, like something. Show me anything. Show me him changing to different people, sneaking into places.
He can't make his beast 20, 50 times its size.
I was like, holy, and then I saw it today. I was like sitting there, I was like, I'm falling in love with Tamlin's character in my mind all over again. Mm-hmm. And I hope, like you said, I hope she realized that and was like, holy shit, I can write a really cool story with this.
Mm-hmm. I need it so bad.
I need it in my life. I need Tamlin's POV. I want like flashbacks to like Under the Mountain. Because I know that I don't think that was Tamlin. I honestly think it was the Adore. I'm so convinced.
I don't know. I'm always torn because obviously we do have Amarantha saying like, if you know, like love her or look at her, whatever, I'll just kill her on the spot. So I can see where he would just shut down, you know? But at some points it just felt like it wasn't just numbness, like it was just not him, like it was a completely different person.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
The Spring Court mocktails, by the way, guys. Oops. What's that on the table? A fucking rose? And what was drawn on the chalkboard? A rose among briars of thorns.
So here's my thing too, is like, so are we getting Elain? We have to be seeing Elain, Lucien, and Tamlin in the next book.
Lucian's back and forth from the Human Lands to Spring. He's like stationed in Spring because Azriel's like, we need to station him in Spring. And so Reese did. But because again, I've been saying this, guys, over and over again. If you reread ACOSF, if you pay specific attention to what is said about Tamlin, which I know nobody does, but it's important, there are about 5 characters, or whether they repeat it or whatever. There's Cassian, Reese, Azriel, Feyre, if I'm not misunderstood, and Eris. And they all say either this or something along the lines of, Tamlin needs to be healed before this war. Before this war. Because they need him to fight because they already lost Baron. So they're already down a High Lord. Reese says, we need Tamlin in this war. And then Azriel says, we need Tamlin restored and healed back to himself for this war. Like, so Tamlin's healing arc has to be before this war. That's why
I'm
I'm
so
like,
excited.
is she going to actually drop a Tamlin book first? Because realistically, she can't move forward with the war arc after what she's said in ACOSF because he needs to heal first.
Well, I'm so confused. I'm just so confused now because, okay, you look at Frost and Starlight,
There's
you
so
look
many.
at Silver Flames, and those two, it sets it up for Tamlin's storyline because you see Reese and Tamlin are fighting, Frost and Starlight, right? We leave off like that. But then you
Tamlin like
go,
crying and like, oh, I'm sorry. Or the not sorry about his sister because like, let's be honest, she's not dead.
she's
He's not
totally
gonna
not
say
dead.
sorry for something, but would you have accepted my apology? I didn't hear one, blah 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 blah. That bullshit is gonna
Yeah.
come out, come out. Where the fuck are you, Lauren and Rune? Where
Well,
are
wait a
you?
second. Wait a second. Even take out Lorna and Rune though. I'm confused because we have Frost and Starlight, Silver Flames, Tamlin and Rhysand are fighting. That's the plot line. But then she introduced Crescent City, and then you have Nesta with her open
And
plot line
as
of the 8-pointed star. So I'm really
and
confused.
as with oh,
And
Reese doesn't know about this, but
yeah,
we must have gone through a thin place. How the fuck did you know about it then?
so I'm confused. Like in a way, are like how she's gonna do
So
this in the
it
next book.
could either be, I'm thinking there's like there's three choices, technically. I don't know which order she's going to put them in, but there's three choices. So either you can have the Tamlin healing book first, which keeps us in suspense of the other arcs, which is what she's been doing pretty much, right? Since Akamath. Have Tamlin's healing book, all that stuff. Very end, kind of going into Lucian, right? Because Lucian's there. Maybe Elaine has a premonition and she shows up in spring or something to talk to Lucian about something. That's how Tamlin's book ends, right? That would lead into the Lucian book. Or if the next book is an Lucian book and she doesn't do a whole Tamlin book, which I will be kind of upset about, Tamlin could be the side plot, the subplot of Lucian's book. And I think realistically, she should drop that book with Moore's novella because that's where I'm getting hung up because Moore's novella is an Aka War novella. So the more books you put out, the farther away from that you're going to be. And it's another pre-Koshi War plotline. So technically, she could have the Moore novella and the Tamlin book dropped at the same time. Maybe they're two novellas. Maybe that's what we're not looking at.
Oh,
Maybe
oh,
she's
do you
going to
think
drop two novellas, and it's Moore's and Tamlin's, and then we're waiting for the next book.
the Illusion book? It's so funny because I could have sworn, based off CC3, that we would
Nesta.
get a Nesta Asriel book. A
Well,
Nesta Asriel book.
so here's the thing. So the Nesta plot is going to have to lead into the Valkyries because again, the 8-pointed star is tied to the Valkyries. The Valkyries are going to be needed for the Koshi plotline. So that's going to have to come after Tamlin's healing and after the Valahand shit.
So then why? So my question is, why would you introduce the Nesta Asriel cliffhanger at the end of CC3? Why wouldn't she have like pushed that out more? It's a kind of a weird introduction, right?
She
Because
needed
like,
to introduce it somehow, and she couldn't introduce it in ACOSF because of the whole history portion, which had to do with Crescent City. So it had to happen because of the Thea Helena shit, right? So she
yeah.
had to introduce that. And we have the whole fucking Night Court plotline of Reese losing his mind, too. So
Well, why? And then why introduce that? And then why introduce the Cassian stuff? Like, I
the
don't
Reese and
understand it.
Cassian shit, that's gonna lead it like Nesta shit, Farah and Nick's shit. Like this is gonna be there's so much. You cannot mush it all into one book. I feel like the most reasonable way for her to do this would be to give us the Moore and Tamlin novellas, if they're novellas, first, and then like 6 months later, the next book. if that's what she
Okay,
has.
so hear me out. Hear me out. So I just had a thought, and I don't know why I didn't think of this before. You know how like we were talking about Reese seeming he's off. Like things are off. She's been, in the whole fandom, like it's like trying to make sense, like explain his behavior, like it's not a big deal. He's more like right, blah blah.
Yeah.
But I do feel like he's a little off.
Oh,
So
he's definitely unhinged. Even
he's unhinged.
Feyre knows it now. Feyre knows it. Feyre wasn't even in Crescent City 3, and Ember even said, "Oh, well, Feyre was convinced of blah blah blah," and then it was like ... and it trailed off like she fucking does when there's a question mark. And we have Feyre saying, "Lay off of Nesta," before Ember did in that scene, remember? Because Nesta was telling Ember how she's like, Feyre told him to like knock the shit off.
Yeah.
And that's why Cassian took Nesta and brought her to Reese like a good little foot soldier, because he wanted to keep berating her after Feyre told him to cut the shit off. You would think, like normal Reese, after Feyre yells at him, will stop.
Yeah, that's true. You know what?
That's what went through my, I don't know why I didn't say that before. That's what went through my head, is that he actually had the audacity this time to keep going. After Feyre told him to stop.
You bring up a good point, because when Feyre has the final word, I feel like I feel like most of like
during their
arguments.
Yeah.
Like if Feyre tells him to stop, he stops because he respects his mate. That's his whole thing.
He didn't.
Okay, so here's now what's coming to my mind is are we gonna have a massive Rhys and Tamlin fight?
I don't know. It was weird. It was weird that he wasn't involving her in shit in Crescent City 3. He was not involving her in any of, like, she was not in the meetings. And of course, you get the Phasanders going, she was with her baby, I wouldn't risk it either, blah, 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 blah. I do get that. But the fact that we have no scenes of her on page, him telling her things, what's going on, what do you think we should do? I thought she was your equal, Reese. I thought she wore your crown and sat next to you on the throne. You're not
was a little
asking for her input?
It was a little weird that,
and
like,
the one input that she gives is fuck off with berating my sister, and you're going to say, okay, and then take her to another place to continue? As if Nesta's not going to tell her. Let's be real.
Oh, I don't think Nesta's going to tell her. They don't have that type of relationship. They're not that close. Maybe. She's not going to let her know, because Nesta knows what a big fight that would start.
If it's against Reese and she knows that Reese is getting a little unhinged, do you think she would tell her? Because she told her about the pregnancy.
She would not tell her. She would not tell her.
About
She's not
herself, maybe not.
Yeah, not her.
Maybe Asriel would, though.
I don't know.
I want As to go full rogue, but keep going.
I swear to God, now that I'm like seeing this, like I think we're gonna have a fight between Reese and Tamlin, because those are the two quotes at the PR party. Reese is starting to act a little unhinged. What if he's just like,
she's doing a reverse? Someone said this, and I lit up like a fucking Christmas tree, and I cannot forget. I mean, I cannot remember who it was. I'm sorry, but I saw on someone's story, I think it was after Crescent City 3, and they said that she was doing a reverse ACOSF where she was twisting them back to their original shit. So where Reese was the baddie in ACOTAR, beginning of ACOSF, and Tamlin was like the hero. And so I was like, she's flipping it back. What? I am gonna lose my mind. But here's the thing. I told you, I don't think it's really Reese's choice. I think that his Valg is literally taking over him.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just like can't calm down right now. I'm really sorry.
You know what and I'm gonna keep going with the stupid magical power thing that we were going on about. But you know what I sent to Eka earlier today?
What?
You want to know?
Stop.
I said, do you know what defeats a Valg? Do you know what defeats a Valg?
Is it a spoiler for Tog? Really. I don't want to know.
Not really. Fire and healing defeat a Valg. Now, in ACOTAR currently, we can assume, right? There are currently 5 Starborn people. I don't think Farrah's Starborn / light / healing will be enough to fix him on her own, because I think he is a Valk Prince, which, as I said, has Daemati powers. Kingdom of Ash thing connected to Maeve. Maeve and the Valk Princes have Daemati powers. They're the strongest Valk.
Okay, stop with
So,
that. Okay.
so there's, healing and fire is what basically can defeat them, kill them. I need these 5 people to vanquish his Valg, because do you want to know who the fucking 5 people are?
No, I don't want to know.
Farah, because she has Starborn from Tamlin and Helion, right? And healing magic from Dawn. So Farah, Helion, Nesta, Lucian, and Tamlin. Now, 3 of the above people don't like Rhys. 4, if Helion realizes how they've treated Lucian and realizes Lucian's his son. So Farah would have to convince all 4 of those people that do not like him to help save him. And you know what? There's 5 Starborn people. You know what else has 5 points? A fucking pentagram. A witch symbol. A fucking pentagram. And if he's in the middle of the pentagram and they're all shooting their magic at him, I can see this so vividly in my head. Like all of them at each point of a pentagram and him just in the middle as his Valg, like lashing out, and they're just blasting him with their Starborn magic. Because Helion has light and kind of fire, so sun fire, because remember, I think this is why we saw him ash the Suriel in ACOWAR, because we needed to know that he had some sort of fire magic with his light. He ashed the Suriel's bones, remember? When he died. So he has sunfire. Lucian's gonna have sunfire because he's his heir, right? Tamlin.
He gets in from Lady Autumn.
Tamlin has his raw healing Starborn magic. And Nesta, 8-pointed star, blessed by the mother, Starborn magic, and Farah, glowing like a new forged star. The first time they had sex, she turned all glowy. It's those 5 people. I feel like all 5 of them are going to have to blast him with their magic to take down his Valg and potentially save him. But Farah's going to have, so this is where Farah's arc comes in, because everyone was concerned about like, oh, she's just going to be a housewife, like she's not going to do anything. This is where Farah would come in, because Farah's going to have to convince all of them to save him. And it's going to be every person that they have been awful to. Lucian.
Except Tarquin.
Helion.
No, I know, except Tarquin. They've been awful to Tarquin.
Oh. But Tarquin isn't Starborn.
Yeah.
But, like, they've been awful to Lucian. They've been awful to Nesta. They've been awful to Tamlin. Is Tamlin even going to want to help him again?
So I like this a lot, but I feel like this is like setting up for the next book, not the one that's coming out now. Don't you agree? Like, because like Tamlin, I think but
I think that's what's going to be going down in the Night Court when we see like the sprinkle. You know how like we kind of go back and forth at some point, like in ACOMAF, how we were back and forth.
Yeah.
I feel like it might kind of be like that, but that's where, you know, we're going to get glimpses of what's going on. What's eventually leading up to all this shit. We have Tamlin healing himself. Is he going to be in a headspace to be like, fuck it, I'll just save him again? Or is he going to refuse? I don't know. Morally gray, he could refuse. I feel like he should have refused the first time, but that's me. He was at his fucking lowest in the war, and he still fucking saved his ass. And you're telling me he needs a redemption? Fuck the fuck off. He does not. He needs healing.
I just have so many thoughts right now. I'm just like so torn up about
processing. There's so many things. So many things.
Well, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, like just like thinking about Rhys's character, him and Tamlin.
Something.
What?
What if that's Moore's other mission. Because remember you said that Reese sent her, which he did. What if she's looking for a cure?
In Valahan? No,
We don't know
no.
anything about the continent.
Why do you feel like
We don't know anything about the continent, but we know that there's trade. We know that stuff goes on there.
well, we know that she's there on a treaty specifically to get these people
Them
to
to sign
sign.
the human treaty,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
I don't think so.
but why send her to do that? Because she's the apex predator. Why send her to do that and not Azriel or Lucian even? He's the courtier. He's the emissary of the Night Court now.
But also remember she needed to get away because Kier and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know. Moore would not be the person to send because Moore hates Tamlin. So I feel like that would probably not be.
No, I
I think
mean,
if they
no,
were
no, no. I mean Reese, a cure for Reese for the Valg. Because she was
oh,
talking to Clotho too in the big library, remember?
wait a second here. I thought you were talking about Tamlin, and I was like,
No, no,
Melanie,
a cure for
he's not.
Reese. Truth magic. She would know first.
If he was Valg,
She would know what
what?
was going on with him first. One fucking look. He can't keep anything from Moore. She has truth magic. She would know. She would know. Oh, I sent more. Why are you sending more? And what did she go talk to Clotho about first? Because she specifically says, "Oh, the mission that I talked to Clotho about or whatever." Like, what are you asking Clotho? Because the last time they went to ask Clotho something, it was how to defeat Hybern, who happened to be a Valg. So,
What? Oh my god. Oh my
I'm
god.
like, is more like, did he send her to also look for anything to stifle it? Like,
There's
hmm,
there's so she has so many plot lines going on right now.
yep. If she doesn't utilize this shit, I'm gonna be so mad, honestly.
Melanie, I'm seriously unwell right now.
Well,
I like can't even.
like, why else would she talk to Clotho in the big library? Why? Before going on her mission. She was so
I
sus
don't.
about it. She was so sus about
But it wasn't a long conversation because Emery and Nesta witnessed it. It was a very short convo, right?
it. I don't know. Unless she was asking where Bryaxis is, but I doubt it.
Doubt that. My
Unless
God.
Moore knows that who Clotho is. Again, truth magic. Does she know who she is? And she didn't tell anyone? Just like the house in Valahan? Is she like, oh, I need to go talk to the mother. Need to go write this shit.
Oh man, she's killing me. I'm so
I-
excited, but also dreading this next book.
Anyway, back to the power thing because we really went off track there. Um, I think this was Ianthe, honestly, but like Ianthe's dead, so I don't know. The ability to sense riches and power in others. Did I not tell you that that's why she wanted Lucian? Because she knew he was from two starborn bloodlines. That's why she wanted him.
Because I feel like that's a Lucian thing. Lucian sees things with his eye,
Yeah, but
right?
riches and power. He can see spells and wards, but specifically riches and power.
I don't think we know anyone who can sense riches and power unless maybe Amryn. No.
Maybe.
She's obsessed with like jewels and riches. It could be Ianthe, but Ianthe never showed like an affinity for that.
I mean, she did want Reese at first. Oh, we'll have such beautiful babies and they'll be so powerful. And he is like the richest High Lord. I don't know. I felt like it was Ianthe. What if she's not dead? What if, oh my God, what if Ianthe is like Reese's mom, and like she literally just didn't die when she went into the Weavers, and we just all thought she died.
That would be insane. Like if Ianthe was still alive, I would be like, what is going
Because
on?
remember how we
What's
said it
going
was suspicious that like she didn't know who the Weaver was? Everyone knows who the fucking Weaver is. Everyone knows her cottage is in the middle.
She was on Highburn Island. I don't know.
But well, no, she was in Spring mostly. That's where she lived before they lived in Valahan, and
Well,
then she came back
didn't
to
she,
Spring.
she was from the continent first, right? And then she went to Highburn.
No, they
and
were
then
from Spring. That's why she
from
was Tamlin's
Spring.
childhood friend. Because her father was Tamlin's captain of the guard, because he was one of the
Okay.
people that stayed.
Okay.
And then, well, actually, I went on my rampage on the chat the other night, and I was saying how I just realized that Ianthe's sisters are actually dead, and how I thought that they were killed in Ithaca Temple, because I didn't realize they were dead. But Feyre specifically says, oh, she didn't ask Ianthe about the massacre of her sisters because she knew how those things could affect someone. So
Wait, what?
that
Where
in
was
Akamath,
this?
in Akamath. So that means her sisters were killed in one of the temple attacks. It had to be Ithaca. Ithaca has to be on the continent because it's not in Prythian. I think it's
No.
on the continent. So that's why I was like, was Hybern fucking with her head? Because then why would she work with Hybern if he killed her sisters, right? So it specifically said in ACOTAR that Ianthe's father could sense the I don't know, could sense the dark power coming, and that's why he took her mother and her sisters and fled to the continent before Amarantha cursed them. So is it Ianthe's
Wait a second.
dad? Are we gonna see Ianthe's fucking dad in the spring court? He's still Tamlin's captain of the guard. Did you know that?
Okay.
Did you know that?
I don't think he is still.
He is. He is.
How do you know that? That was never mentioned.
Yeah. I forget. I think it was either Akhtar or Akamath. Yeah, it's mentioned that Ianthe's father was his captain of the guard, and it hasn't changed. Like he hasn't changed anybody.
Left. They all left.
No. They left during Amarantha's curse, and then they came back to Spring.
But I don't think
Ianthe was doing double duty. She was
her
backstabbing them.
No, but her dad never came back. Her dad never came back.
Yeah, they all came back.
I swear to God, her dad did not come back.
They did. They all came back.
They did
Hold
not.
on. Let me look it up really quick.
Pull it up. Also, Melanie, emotional manipulation, it's Jurian.
Could be, but he's not. Well, does he have a
It's
power?
fucking-
Did he take a power from the cauldron?
It's fucking Jurian.
It could be.
It has to be Jurian because wait, or no. Okay, wait a second. It's either Jurian or Jurian is the one that says he can sense powers and riches in people.
Maybe.
Because Jurian saw Feyre when she was in Ianthe's form. He knew it immediately.
Oh yeah, he did know that it was her. He did know.
He
That was
knew
so
it.
sus. He knew that it was her.
So is he the one that can sense people's powers and riches? Is it Jurian?
It would make sense because he did go in the cauldron, or assumedly went in the cauldron.
Why did Hybern want him? He had to have some type of power.
And all those months that he took recovering from the process. What process? Because the rest of them came out pretty fine.
Jurian has to be one of those two.
Has to be. Ianthe's father is one of Tamlin's strongest allies in the Spring Court and the captain of his forces. During the events in Under the Mountain, Ianthe's father sensed trouble and moved to Valahan with his 3 daughters and his wife. He returned after 50 years when Amarantha was killed. When he returned, he again became captain of Tamlin's forces. I was right.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He's still fucking there.
I swear to God that didn't happen.
He sensed trouble. It's Ianthe's fucking father. I'm telling you right now. He's gonna fuck shit up. And her mother. They're both alive and all of their kids are dead. They're not gonna go feral.
I don't know. I kind of thought that the Ianthe plotline was like dead and over.
But her parents are alive. Wouldn't it have been easier to just kill all of them?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that she's
Because
gonna
he's
drop them off.
mentioned like 3 times. Oh, A Court of Mist and Fury, Chapter 2. Yeah, ACOMAF. He's literally an ACOMAF.
I think she's gonna drop them, honestly, because there's
Well,
nothing.
Well,
There's
because
too much.
but also, who was the guard that he whipped in ACOWAR? Because he could have some annoyances about that too. Like he could be against Tamlin. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like her parents are gonna be an issue because it's always the little people that you don't think about that's gonna be the biggest fucking issue. I think they're actually gonna ally with Koshi too. It's gonna be Baron. It's gonna be maybe Jurian, Ianthe's parents. It's losing a lot of the queens. Koshi has
I
a
don't
lot
know,
of
dude.
people on
I
his
don't
side.
know. I don't know. I feel like, well, it'll be interesting to see because I feel like she's gonna forget all about any of these parents. I feel like they were so minor
They
that it's
might.
like who,
But
I'm
the way
just,
that Moore is literally fucking in Valahan, she's gonna have to see them
she might not.
if they moved again after their daughters died. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, can we also just, sorry, circle back to the person that can see powers and riches? Um,
Hold on.
Jurian
One
could see,
second.
yeah.
Ianthe's temple. That was in spring. Tamlin let her use the crumbling temple, right? She rebuilt it. Was that the temple that her sisters were killed in? Because if they came
Oh,
back to spring, then what massacre? Like,
no.
how did they die then? If they came back to spring, what massacre are you talking about? Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. I don't know.
Are you saying they were killed by Hybern?
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
I thought they were killed in Ithaca Temple, which I believe is on the continent. It has to be in Valahan or something. But then so I had a couple people going, well, I thought she was just saying sisters as in like other priestesses' sisters, like how nuns call each other sisters.
His sisters.
I guess.
No, I took it as
But
like,
I think it's her actual sisters because Feyre made it sound personal.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
in
Yeah. I think
spring,
it's,
if they came back to spring, oh, was it only her parents that came back to spring? It could have just been her parents that came back to spring.
that's kind of what I took it as.
So my question is, did Hybern have his niece and nephew fuck with Ianthe's head? Because as pervy and weird as she was, like even Amarantha cared about her sister. Ianthe's not going to care that he murdered her sisters. She's still going to work for him for power? Or was that just one of Hybern's power plays where he actually fucked with Ianthe's head, kind of like Feyre fucked with the rest of the Spring Court? Because
Hmm.
Ianthe's mind, we know from ACOWAR, is super easy to get into. Feyre got into it. She goaded her into framing the guard.
Right. Right.
So I'm like, I wonder. And like, how far back does that go? Because you have to wonder why Tamlin never assumed that she would ever do anything like that. Like, did he change her? Was she just his pawn?
Okay. So what if Hybern's the emotional manipulator? There,
I mean, he's dead now. Like, they're dead now, but like, can you imagine if it came out that like Hybern was controlling Ianthe the whole time
whole
and it like
time.
wasn't her?
That'd be fucking crazy. Or
Because like
Jurian, or well, but Jurian,
any of them.
yeah.
Because like they were childhood friends. Like Tamlin didn't think anything of it, and Lucian was like, "Oh, she's been super like pervy on me. Like I don't get why." Like why was Lucian in Hybern that day? What
Why
does
was
that
what?
Why was Lucian in Hybern that day? Like we know Tamlin was a spy, but why was Lucian there too? I know that he's kind of like Tamlin's emissary, whatever, but I don't know. Did Hybern need Lucian for something? Does he know about the Starborn thing? Because we have Vesperus wanting Thea for her Starborn, right? We have Amarantha wanting Tamlin for his Starborn, right? Did Hybern want Lucian? Was that just another little pair-up thing? Was he using Ianthe to get Lucian? I don't know. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I don't know.
I'm mad that she's dead because I want to know.
See, I'm like it's so funny because I hated Ianthe so much
Oh, I
that
hated her too, but
I'm
that's
over
why
her.
I'm like, but like, even Rhys said that when Tamlin got suspicious of Amarantha, Rhys was like, oh, if Tamlin doesn't trust her, nobody should trust her. There's a reason Tamlin trusted Ianthe and never saw it coming. Like,
It's weird. Isn't it weird?
yeah.
It's weird. It's weird because Tamlin had a lot of like really bad oversights. Like,
And Hybern specifically says, oh, Ianthe didn't tell you yet then. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean tell me? And that's when he brought the sisters in. He literally had no idea. Because Ianthe knew that he wouldn't let that fly. Hybern knew that he wouldn't let that fly. He was teasing him, just like he was teasing Rhys about, I wasn't going after the book until you did. I feel like he was teasing Tamlin like, oh, Ianthe didn't tell you. Why? Because you made her not tell him? Like you turned his last best friend on him? Aside from Lucian. The last best friend that he had because he got all of his other friends killed from Amarantha, your general? Was that just the last kick in the gut?
and why did Hybern? Why was he doing that to Tamlin? Because Tamlin was technically like his ally. His father was
Fake
at least,
ally. Yeah.
unless he knew that the whole time.
Well, no, because in ACOWAR he was fucking pissed
He was furious.
when he saved them. He was pissed. He was like pointing his power. Like he was fucking pissed. So I feel like he didn't know, but see, I can't tell if these are purposeful things or just discrepancies in her writing because then like Feyre had to guard Tamlin's mind from the twins, but then he was literally there with them for months spying and they'd never went in his head to see that it was fake. Like, I don't know.
See, that's what's so weird to me. It's
so weird. Anyway, the next one is time travel.
We love time travel. We talk about this all the time.
Tog is in the past. Tog is in the past. Tog is in the past.
I don't know yet.
You didn't see what I sent you before we hopped on here. I made a reel. Don't
tell me.
Well, no, I think you already know. You've read Tog, right?
No, I've read Throne of Glass.
Yeah,
the actual book.
Yeah, so you should. Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty sure it was in Throne of Glass. I'm pretty sure it was in Throne of Glass. Are you on Crown of Midnight?
I'm in the first like 150 pages. Yeah. So don't go past like
you know about Gold.
At the point where
do you know about Goldrin? I'm pretty sure that was at the end of Throne of Glass.
Not yet.
The sword.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's just about a sword. It's not really a spoiler. It's about a sword.
Okay.
So Goldrin is this big gold sword that was passed down through Aelin's line. And basically it was supposed to be hers, but really it was supposed to be Adian's because he was the not Lord of the North, but he was like the guard guy for Terrasen. I forget what his official title is right now. But she basically passed down Goldrin to him, but it was Aelin's sword. So she uses it throughout Tog or whatever. And so Goldrin was this giant gold sword. And on the pommel of it was a giant, like, duck-sized ruby. Like a huge ruby. And that's, like, the sword that Aelin uses for a lot of things, which I won't say. But that's the sword that Aelin uses. And so I was in the chat and we were talking about the swords and everything and time travel and all this stuff. And someone asked, oh, what sword was Amarantha killed with? But I thought that she said I thought that she said Maeve. And I think, oh, I said, oh, I think it was Goldrun or whatever. And she goes, oh, was that sword in ACOTAR or something? And I said, I don't know, but let me look it up. And so obviously the word Goldrun is an ACOTAR, but I looked up ruby. And motherfucker, I swear to God, she's so clever. Because more proof that Tog is in the past and that Tamlin is a fucking descendant of Aelin. I would like to bring to attention this scene. So this is when Feyre goes back to um her father and sister's manor when he sends her home, right?
Okay.
And so, Elena's gardening and Nesta's like whatever Nesta does at that time, like just, whatever, milling around. And her father is still going through the jewels that Tamlin gave him, like the sacks of jewels, right, in his study. And chapter 29 of ACOTAR. She goes, inventing stories about my time with Aunt Ripley required minimal effort, blah, 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 blah. And I nursed her until she died in her sleep 2 weeks ago, leaving the fortune to me. We know that Tamlin gave them a fortune, and it wasn't Aunt Ripley, right? What a tremendous fortune it was. The trunks that accompanied me hadn't contained just clothing. Several of them had been filled with gold and jewels. Not cut jewels either, but enormous raw jewels that would pay for 1,000 estates. So that's first confirmation that it personally came from Tamlin's trove. Okay? My father was currently taking inventory of those jewels. He'd holed himself up in the office that overlooked the garden in which I was sitting beside Elaine in the grass. Through the window, I spied my father hunched over his desk, a little scale before him as he weighed an uncut ruby the size of a duck's egg. Bitch! It's Goldrun's ruby! Holy shit! Sarah! Book one! Book one, I'm telling you. He was clear-eyed again and moved with a sense of purpose, of vibrancy that I hadn't seen since before the downfall. Even his limp was improved, made miraculously better by some tonic and a salve a strange passing healer, which Elaine told her it was Tamlin, had given him for free. I would have been forever grateful to Tamlin for that kindness alone.
Wait. When remind me again how Elaine knew it was Tamlin, or how we
No, Elaine didn't know it was Tamlin. Farrah did at this point.
she knew that it was specifically Tamlin that healed him.
Yeah. Because yeah. Remember he said, "Oh, I'll take care of your family and I'll send the jewels or whatever." And then he sent these jewels with her this time when he sent her
Yeah,
home.
I just wasn't aware that Tamlin was it was actually Tamlin
Yeah.
that healed the knee.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think I did know it, and I think
Yeah.
I must have forgotten it.
Yeah, it was the first time. So Elaine recounts it later, and it was the first time that he came back to give them riches or whatever. It was the first time after he said, "Oh, don't worry, they're taken care of." And she was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I took care of them." That was the first time he healed the knee.
I see. I love it. I fall in love with him all over again.
I know. Uncut ruby the size of a duck's egg. That's fucking Goldrun's ruby. Dude, it's Goldrun's ruby. Tamlin has the ruby and the ring, and Lydia has Rowan's. Holy shit. Because, hold on, let me look up Goldrun really quick. Yeah, it literally says Goldrun is a large golden hilted sword with a ruby the size of a chicken egg set into the hilt. It has spectral flames flickering around it. It's fucking...
Cool Easter egg. I will not deny you that.
He is a descendant. Tog is in the past. They are dead, people. If Goldrun is destroyed, broken up, that it was just the ruby that was left, they're dead.
No, you don't know that Goldrun was destroyed. How do you know he didn't pluck the ruby out of the sword?
Because he never wielded that sword. He never had that sword. He just had the ruby.
Or it's just SJM reusing
Also,
phrases.
also, Which I guess this is probably why people say to read Tog first. But it says that
Wait, is this a spoiler? Stop.
not really.
Spoiler?
It's more about
I don't want to know. I think we should
No, it's
skip
more
it.
about ACOTAR. It's more about ACOTAR. It just says that Rowan throws Goldrin to Aelin, who uses it to fight off a creature. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Lucian, Tam.
Yeah.
What the? And then
Yeah.
Tamlin killed her. He's Aelin's descendant. He's a motherfucking Ash River Whitethorn.
He has to be.
He has to be. Oh my god. Well, does he have the sword? The sword fights off Falg.
We don't know because all he wields is the bandolier. He never has a sword on it.
Is he gonna use fucking Goldrin against Reese?
Dude, if there's a Reese Tamlin fight, I'm so there. I'm so there. I have to see this.
Because this is the sword that Aelin imbues with her power when we were talking about them, when we were talking about Nesta imbuing her power into things.
Yeah.
And how she stole from the cauldron. Goldrin is the sword that she put her power through.
Okay, so like, let's be real. So like, all I gotta say is like, of course I'm interested in the ship wars and Lucian and Elaine, all them, but I will forever always be the most interested in Rhysand and Tamlin, forever and always. Okay, so if there's gonna be a fight,
Oh my god,
I'm here for it.
I know exactly what the fuck she's gonna do. It's Rhys's Valg, and Tamlin's gonna be wielding fucking Goldrin.
Also, listen. Also, this brings us back to Beauty and the Beast because technically you've got like Gaston and like the Beast, and Gaston is Rhys or whatever.
It says here that it was imbued with Aelin's fire magic and allowed her to use some of her original power that was stored in it to fight the Valg. Bitch.
We have that. We have us going back to the Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Is there still some of Aelin's magic in this sword? Why did he take the ruby out of it? I don't know. But could he use this sword to fight Rhys's Valg? Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to have an Aelin descendant and a Maeve descendant fight again with the same fucking sword?
We see them fighting like years and years and years later.
Sword, bitch. Oh my god. Oh my god. It did. It is. Yeah, that was the sword. That was the sword. That was the sword that defeated her. Oh my god. Is he going to kill Rhys's Valg with Goldrin? Oh my god. I'm actually gonna be mad if she turns the tables and has like the Valg win this time and like she kills Tamlin. I'm gonna be so pissed.
Do you think she would really kill him though? I don't think so.
No, but I
don't know.
Anyway, back to time travel. I had to take that little aside because I had to tell you guys. The fucking Cauldron Ruby he gave to the Archeron. Where is their trope now?
Did Eka confirm that? Did she say that? Did she notice that? Or no?
What did she put? She didn't reply. I think she's asleep. She has something tomorrow. But
okay.
Oh my god. But okay, here's where things get weird because if he gave it to the Archerons and the Archerons are now in the Night Court, does fucking Feyre have it? And if so,
no. Why would she have that?
The jewels from their father's estate? He's dead.
No, she doesn't have that.
Who has it? Who has all the jewels then? We know that they didn't give fuck shit to Nesta. They did not hand out their inheritance. They fucking kept that shit. Faizan kept that shit. Let's be real. They're awful.
That's terrible if they kept it. Unless Elaine has it. Elaine could have it, which also ties her to the Spring Court.
But Elaine's also living with Faizan, so technically Faizan has it.
Faizan has it.
I hate that so much. oh, Nest is using all our money. Then give her goddamn inheritance, you son of a bitch.
But also, was it lost to the Hybern War, possibly?
Who knows? They literally just like, well, yeah, I mean, it could have been. Like, it depends on what was there, because remember when they returned to the manor after the war for the meeting and it was like all decrepit and like run through by everyone?
Yeah. Like, was that stolen? Or something
know.
that's really weird to me. Who do we know that can like detect riches? I just can't get over it. Like,
I don't know. I'm so shook about this now because I was so sure that Reese was Valg and I had no proof. And now just knowing that Tamlin might have Goldrin is like, it's happening. Like, it's happening. Holy shit.
I'm trying not to get my hopes up. Don't get my hopes up because it might not happen.
But that's
It
the
might-
ruby. That's the ruby. The size of a duck's egg. Duck's egg and chicken eggs are like, I don't know, I guess kind of the same size.
Yeah, well, also, yeah, they're the same.
Let's be real. But like time travel, who's time traveling? And are we opening the gates again? What do you think? I'm so excited.
We have to be.
Who's coming through the next gate? First guess.
Aelin. Aelin's coming.
Time travel. What? Imagine if she did. Imagine if she wrote that and it was like a time travel portal and Aelin traveled to the future and she helped Tamlin herself.
Wild would it be? Yeah, if we see like
Because
Aelin.
Because like her other descendants fucked up going to Crescent City, right? And Tamlin's the I'll always fight against tyranny.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cute. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. That would be kind of cute. She's like,
I would expect to see Tog, like major Tog characters again. I don't feel like it's over. I haven't read Kingdom of Ash.
Everyone
I don't know.
says that. Kingdom of Ash to me for Rowaylan was their off in the sunset little thing.
Bryce and Hunt got their off in the sunset and it's not done.
Well, Bryce and Hunt retained their powers, so.
Okay, but also, just a random thought. She loves Aelin. She loves Aelin.
I know.
Do you really think she's gonna leave Aelin without her powers?
She did, though.
But she's writing another Tog book, so we don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it's anything, it's gonna be Minorian.
I could see that.
But if we get a Minorian novella and she's talking about opening up the gates, is that gonna be like I said, is Dorian the connection to the Archerons? Like what raw magic?
I don't know.
He could kind of do everything too. He could shapeshift. He could shapeshift.
What?
Oh yeah, like you haven't seen that fucking
shit.
You have not seen the scene that everyone goes crazy about with Manon.
No, I haven't.
For everywhere. It's
no,
everywhere.
It's not everywhere. I haven't seen it, and I'm all over that internet, and I'm all over those pictures.
Let me just give you an Easter egg. Charmed episode. Stop. She's a man, baby, a man.
Stop. Don't want to hear it. Okay.
Okay. Time travel. What do you think's happening?
I thought we said that Nesta was a time traveler.
Yeah. So what do you think's gonna happen though? Like, what do you think? How do you think it's gonna be weaved in?
So, like, I don't know. I still think Nyx somehow plays into this. Like, I have this.
Oh my god!
In my head.
Oh my god! This could play into our Nyx is Nox theory.
This could play into what?
Our Nyx is Nox theory.
That's what I'm saying.
No, because then Tog is the future and Nyx is a baby. It doesn't make sense.
I still think that
would have been awesome though.
I still think that Nyx, like, I think one of these is his because we haven't seen, or does Nyx have the emotional manipulation? Does Nyx emotionally manipulate people? I don't know.
Well, this leads to my next one, which ultimately led to that art that I did that you thought was adorable with Tamlin. The art of Tamlin and Nyx
we
that I
talked
have.
about that art.
Yeah. Invisibility.
I still think Nyx is the invisible one. I don't know.
This fucking Jack over here is already causing problems for them. We know from Crescent City.
I think that chapter in Crescent City was really telling because we have a missing Feyre, so she's got her hands
Well, the
fucking
bonus
full.
chapter, if people bothered to read it.
I know, but I think it's kind of funny because like Feyre's fucking missing, and like and SJM puts that
Nyx is missing,
and she puts that little kernel that like, oh, Rhysand smiles knowing like how difficult 1-year-olds could be. Nyx is invisible. That's Nyx's power. He's disappearing. Feyre can't keep up with him. She's like exhausted by Jack.
I told you I want him to like disappear and just like show up in Tamlin's court, and Tamlin's like, I didn't steal your fucking kid. I don't want this kid here. What are you? I don't want him here. Get out. And him just freaking out at this kid, and this kid's just like, hi.
I know. And I still think like it's still like canon in my head that like Nyx and Tamlin's daughter are gonna be married. Like I'm convinced they're mates. Like I've already written that.
100%. Yeah. I feel like Nyx would fucking love Tamlin's beast.
Oh, 100%.
He's gonna be like climbing on him, like pulling at his fur, and Tamlin's gonna be like, what the fuck, kid?
Tamlin takes one of his paws, like tries to shove him off, and like, you know.
And he just grabs his antlers, like, stare.
Let's go. Tamlin's like, oh, get off. Grouchy.
And then Rhys comes in, like, exploding like a storm. Where's my son? And Tamlin's like, believe me, I don't want him here any more than you do.
Damn it, take it back.
And then Nyx just keeps popping in and keeps popping in. And then he just eventually warms up to him, and he's like, fine.
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
He's at my house. He's at my house, Rhysand. He's at my house. Just leave me alone. He's here.
And Nyx is like, pony rides. And he's like, fuck. Fine. Fine. And then like all the spring court people just see him like trotting around with this little kid on his back.
Love it. I love that. I'm obsessed. I know people were like shitting on the baby storyline. I fucking love Nyx. I love the baby storyline. And then thinking of him with Tamlin, I love it even more.
Oh, if we don't see Tamlin with a fucking baby at least once, I'm going to be so ripshit. He has the children's books. He wanted the babies. Give him babies, please. But yeah, like, oh my god. And then his people are slowly coming back, but like, we're gonna see lots more babies. It better be fucking Tamlin's. He better have a little girl. My gosh.
What I want to see at the end of ACOTAR,
the second gen. Just all the second gen.
All the second gen.
You're like, give me a second gen novella.
All the second gen. I want to see it. So I want to see Nyx and Tamlin's daughter fall in love. That's what I want to see.
Me too. I want to hold her to the fact that she's like, let's be real, it's going to be so much more than 3 books. Like, I need stories of everybody. Everybody. Yeah. I need Nyx and Tamlin's daughter, who I call Rosie. So like, I need Nyx and Rosie so bad.
So I want to read their story so much.
Okay, but honestly, how would you keep track of an invisible child?
That's the problem.
How do you keep them alive? Especially in Prithian.
Like, Feyre's exhausted. Feyre's like, what the fuck?
Better hope he didn't go through that fucking portal.
I know.
While invisible. Imagine.
Like, where would Nyx, if I were Nyx, where would I go? And where? I just want to know.
Never been anywhere though, except Valaris. Really?
He's literally like, how would you keep an invisible child warded into a house? I don't know. You'd have to ward it.
I feel like he isn't even warded in because they're not even thinking of it yet.
Oh.
I feel like this kid just winnows like poof and then just appears somewhere and he's like, ah.
They're like, ah! Trying to catch him.
Or he's like trying to fly away.
Yeah.
Fly away.
I'm like, well, she did hint to like us getting more Nicks.
Yeah.
So Nicks, and he
We
sounds
were
like a
supposed to
troublemaker.
get more Nicks in CC3.
I know.
Why wasn't that one of the bonus chapters? Like, can you give us some of the good content as bonus chapters aside from the one where like Nessian is fighting? Because I love that one. But
I actually love that chapter so much. It's a really good chapter.
really good.
It's so good.
Ember is the best.
Ember was like the mom that I love Ember. I'm like,
Ember.
fucking go Ember. But like I want the bonus chapter Farah next. Like
I know. I don't even like Farah, but I need baby content. Like,
I need baby Nyx in my life.
Yeah. But honestly, if Tamlin does not have his own mate and a child by the end of this series, I'm going to be pissed off.
I'll be severely disappointed. But I think he's going to get his own mate because she said that doesn't mean that he's not good for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. We know who that somebody else is.
I know you're trying to segue into Briar.
I'm telling you, he healed her. That's why she didn't feel pain, but how else would she not feel the pain if she was human? Doesn't make sense. Because Farah under the mountain, we saw her screaming in pain because of it. She was just, okay, I'll run. Elaine's like, jump now, bitch. And she was like, jumped. No pain from the lashes, the burn.
I just can't. I'm not as obsessed with her as you are. I just am not into it.
Did you ever see that art that I made of Tamlin and Briar actually in Hybern where he visits her cell?
I don't think that I did see that.
I did really good art of that where he sees her in her cell and I made like a little like short story underneath where like the mate con snapped.
I love that. I'll go back and look through.
Yeah. And Jurian's just like, there's a reason that he keeps frequenting that cell.
I'm just so not here for it right now. Unless she has like a major character reboot. I'm just like not on the Briar boat. I'm sorry.
But you like Balthazar. It's the same thing.
Balthazar's like cool. He's like chilling.
Briar's chill.
I don't know.
She was scared, but would you not be scared with literal hell beasts after you?
I don't know what it is. Like I can't figure out like why I'm just not into that storyline. I'm sorry. I'm not into it.
You watch. You are going to come groveling to me after their book because it's going to be beautiful and amazing. And you're going to be like, it's my favorite book. I'm sorry I was wrong.
Okay, so like here, and I think I've told you, like, here's my main qualm is I truly feel like Tamlin needs someone sensational in like all areas. And
as I said, we don't know anything about her yet.
But it's also like
manipulating nature.
But it's also her backstory that like to me it's like not cool that she was like a child of the blessed and then she like got abducted by Hybern and then like I'm just like not into her and it's like he falls for this like quasi-human all over again and we've already read him do that one time and
but I want him to have to be human. She could be witch, she could be whatever. But also little crack theory that just entered my head while we're talking about this and the whole nature manipulation thing. What if it wasn't Tamlin's wind power? What if it was Briar's wind power?
What if it was what?
What if it was Briar's wind power?
No, because it specifically said Tamlin shot it up.
No, it said a wind that smelled like spring or something rose her up from whatever. We need to look this up right now because, oh my god, I'm gonna go crazy. Wind.
Sigh. Is this an ACOMAF?
Sigh. It's an ACO war. ACO war.
It's an ACO war?
Yeah. Also, the fact that Rhys didn't know that Tamlin had wind power, that's another giveaway. Because when she asks specifically about wind power, he says day court. Likely.
No, I just think
He didn't
Tamlin
know
is.
that Tamlin had wind power.
I just think that Tamlin holds his cards really close. So I don't think he ever told Rhys everything he could do.
Yeah.
That's how I read it. Okay.
Where is
It's
it?
in
Wait,
ACOWAR.
wait. Yeah. Where is it?
And we're looking up the winds.
Or actually, I'm just gonna look up Briar because it's literally in that scene almost, or like back from that scene. Intrepid thieves. Blah blah blah. Get her out, Asriel. Blah 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 blah. Grab onto him. If you want to live, do it now, Elaine screamed and smashed the hounds in the face with her heel. See? Elaine has inner fire too.
Oh, she totally has inner fire.
One of the hounds broke past Tamlin's guard, came barreling down the narrow stretch of rock, claws gouging the stone beneath. I could have sworn the king laughed from behind. Azrael screamed at her to push up. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. I Easter egg. Sarah fucking J Mass. If that was Briar's fucking wind, I'm gonna be so excited. It says, my feet lifted from the ground, then hit again. I pushed with the wind flapping like hell. The hound gained on me. 5 steps. I knew that whatever force had compelled me to learn to fly, somehow it had known that this moment was coming. All of it for this moment. And with barely 3 steps to the edge of that cliff, a warm wind kissed with lilac and new grass blasted up from beneath me, a wind of spring, lifting me, filling my wings. It does not actually say Tamlin's wind, but Feyre assumes it was Tamlin because it was
a wind of spring, though. I feel like that's like, it's Tam.
But if she's his mate and his equal and a witch.
I swear to God, if she's not his mate, I'm going to rag on.
Thank God you're muted again. Sorry, what? Perfect time to cut out. Just kidding. Hold on, I literally can't hear you, though.
Okay.
Oh, now I can hear you. Okay. Yeah, I know you're gonna rag at me, and I'm gonna be so mad if it's not, because all of the fucking a warm wind kissed with lilac and new grass blasted up from beneath me, a wind of spring, lifting me, filling my wings. So, and then, Azrael turn. Oh, yeah, the king fired again. Arrow tipped with glimmering. Okay, arrow tipped with glimmering amethyst power, as we said, probably second light. Azrael's shield held but barely whatever magic the king had wrapped around it. Azrael grunted in pain, but he snarled at me, fly. I veered toward the way I'd come, back trembling with the effort. Azrael turned, the girl moaning in terror, as he lost a few feet into the sky before he leveled out and soared behind me. Ugh. The king barked a command. A barrage of arrows arced up from the camp rained down upon us. Azrael's shield buckled but held solid. I flapped my wings back, shrieking. And then, because remember when I said it was weird that we've never once seen anybody use 2 powers in tandem at once, if it's even possible. And Tamlin was in his beast form. And that it was weird that he could use his wind power in his beast form. Because he's already shapeshifted, right?
I'll be so bummed out. That sucks. I can't even be excited about this.
Tamlin was surrounded by the hounds, bleeding, panting, still in that beast form. It literally says it. The king was perhaps 30 feet away, livid, utterly livid, as he beheld the hole that I'd again ripped through his wards. Tamlin made the most of his distraction. He did not glance toward us as he made a break for the cliff's edge. He leaped far, far and wide. Farther than any beast or fae should be able to. Tam.
That was always weird.
That wind he'd sent my way, now bolstering him, guiding him toward the hole we'd swept through.
That's Tamlin's wind.
Tamlin cleared it. No, Tamlin cleared it and winnowed away. So how is he doing wind, shapeshifting, and winnowing at the same time? He can't.
Because he has a bunch of powers that we don't even know about.
Still not looking at me as I gripped Azrael's hand and we vanished as well. But then, like, But then it says the next thing, it says Azriel's power gave out on the outskirts of the camp. The girl, despite the burns and lashings on her moon white skin, was able to walk.
I'm
Manon
not.
has moon white skin.
Manon does.
And so does Alid, who is part witch. Moon white skin, particularly moon white skin. I actually never caught that.
Okay.
I think she's a witch, actually. I don't know. Um, the girl went so far as to even offer to use her lingering scraps of clothing to bind my wound. Briar, she said, her voice raw. Her name was Briar. She didn't mind the mud that squelched under her feet and splattered her shins. She only gazed at the tents and the soldiers who stumbled out. But it didn't say that, like, she was scared of them or anything. She just gazed at them. And then Reese looks at her. It says, to Elaine, then to Briar. I couldn't leave her, I said, surprised to find my own voice raw. And then, like, he doesn't really say anything. And then it goes to Elaine, hugging Azriel, and Reese going, we need to get you to Thiessen.
Okay, but she does specifically say it was Tamlin's wind.
Feyre assumes that it was Tamlin's wind.
Yeah.
But it bolstering him farther and wider than he should have been able to jump. That seems like a mate shit to me. That, like, Briar could have helped him out.
No way. No
If it was him, wouldn't he have spared a glance at them? It says he wasn't even looking at them.
No, I think he knew I think he didn't need to look at them. I think he knew where everybody was. That's what I think. That's Tamlin's
A thought
power.
clanged through me. Tamlin, his action would cover Jurian's betrayal. Would it, though? Jurian's betrayal. I had no doubt Tamlin hadn't gone back to Hybern's army after the meeting to betray us, but to play spy. Like, fucking Jurian.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's Jurian on that list
After
there.
last night, it was unlikely that he would get close to Hybern again, not when the king himself had witnessed everything. I didn't know what to make of it. That he'd given up his deception to save me. Where had he gone to when he winnowed? Well, considering that you fucking killed Spring, we hadn't heard anything about the Spring Court forces. That wind he'd sent, I'd never seen him use such a power. It's not his power.
It's totally, he keeps his cards close to his chest. He's not going to tell people what he's got. I'm telling you, it's Tamlin's power.
But also, I remembered him crumbling the opening to Under the Mountain, so that's also nature manipulation.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I know.
Okay, but the moon white skin, come on.
Oh no, I think it'd be cool if she was a witch. Like I'd be
Him
more
being made into a witch, that would be amazing.
I'd be more compelled if like Briar was a witch.
Yeah, I don't really want her to be human, but even if she is human, he can literally shift her, so it doesn't really matter.
I know, but it just cheapens that story. Like we've already seen him fall in love with a human. Give me something else. Give me a witch. I'd be cool with that.
Briar was with Vivian, tucked beneath Vivian's arm, face still bruised and swollen in spots, but smiling at the Winter Court ladies. Weird for someone supposed to be super traumatized. Vivian began to lead her away, chatting merrily.
Oh, I mean,
Winter! Up north! You gave Briar over to them?
brings in a whole other thing. I don't know.
I didn't think being exposed to battle-ready Illyrians would do much to soothe her. And the Winter Court army is much better. They have fuzzy animals. Again. Fuzzy animals. The softness of Tamlin's fur. If you ignore the claws and teeth. Tamlin's beast, the claws and the teeth.
Dude, I'll be so bummed. That sucks.
What the fuck? You did a very brave thing saving Briar. Oh yeah, Moore knows her too, so. More again. Anyone would have done it. No. she said, adjusting her tight Illyrian jacket. I'm not sure, ... I'm not sure even I would have tried to get her. I don't know if I would have deemed the risk worth it. I've made enough calls like that where it went badly, ... How's Azriel? More. Who did you get killed more?
Yeah.
The fuck? What? Also, we kind of should have seen the pregnancy thing coming because it says right after that, alive, his back is fine, but Thesan hadn't healed many Illyrian wings, so the healing is slow, different from repairing Peregrine wings, which apparently. Reese sent for Maja. Because Peregrine wings are softer and feathery.
Yeah.
But anyways.
What's that last power on that list? Was that all of it? Invisibility?
Flying, which was the Illyrians.
Oh yeah, it's the Illyrians.
Yeah. I when I first saw invisibility, I thought Elaine though. Because remember how she was just popping up
in places? I just
like
thought she was winnowing.
She literally like jump scared Nesta in the fucking library. She was like, "What the fuck? Hi, what the fuck?" Just popped up from behind Hybern.
Interesting then, because she would have like 3 powers on that list, Elaine. Unless the whole point of this is to drop Easter eggs on Elaine's book and her powers.
She could just have seer and invisibility. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the nature be the Briar.
Yeah.
I still think it's Tamlin, but that's just me.
But Tamlin has the brute strength, so are we giving everybody 2 on the list? I think it's Briar. Or even if Tamlin sent the wind, maybe, I don't know, maybe Briar sent the one that helped him through. Because, like, that line, you have to admit that line was weird. Farther than anyone should ever be able to jump. Like, isn't it weird? They weren't helping him. Mate. Shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's a lot to think about. I know. Melanie, I have so much to think about now. Everything you've discussed tonight, I'm like playing it back in my head. It's gonna be crazy.
I could just put damn about the cauldron thing. Also, did you see the post by, I think it was Emily's Theories, where she there's some random quote, I guess, in Tog, and it says like, "Oh, we'll write this as like this will be the great war of our time," or something.
I sent that to you.
You sent it, right? Yeah, I was like, past. They were going to get the book commissioned by a cranky old scholar. Fucking Meryl.
I know.
Oh my god.
I like saw that and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I saw this.
Volume 8. There's 8 books. Kingdom Ashes book
8. It's literally labeled like the Great War.
The Great War, Volume 8. That's what Nesta reads. Although she would be prepared to fight Reese's Valg too, though, if she read that book. Which I just thought about.
Maybe that's what she was researching. Maybe that's why she was asking for the Great War, Melanie.
Can she sense that Reese is weird? Because she
or Reese asked her. Reese asked her, find me a time in history where this, and this happened.
Maybe. I don't think Reese would ever tell Nesta if anything was going on with him.
No, he told Meryl.
Oh,
he told Meryl.
Meryl's like, here, Nesta. And Reese was like,
why else would Meryl be looking?
Or go get that book. Go get that book from Clotho.
I don't know.
Maybe there's another copy that he wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know, because she also had a brief history of the great sieges by Ocean. We don't know who Ocean is, but I feel like every time she writes a book title, it's important.
Oh yeah, like all the Crescent City book titles are important apparently, but I haven't finished Hog, so I don't know.
It's
I just know that there were a lot of them that like came up.
yeah. And then this part where it says, this is later in ACOSF, it says, um, I want to confirm that Breelyn has the crown, Azriel said. I'll travel to the human lands tomorrow. No, Farah and Reese said at the same time in the same breath. Azriel's eyes shuddered. I wasn't asking for permission. Reese smirked. Doesn't matter. And then, of course, Farah's like, you're not going. Pull your spies out. Like hell I will. Choose
I
your high
know.
lady. What she says is law. I fucking hate that so much.
I know.
Hate that so much. And then he groveled, which we said.
Oh, I just love
and
them.
I just
Well, I'm super excited. I gotta head out. But
yeah.
so tomorrow night we're gonna be filming again, talking about
Yes.
lots of good things, which is super exciting.
Hmm.
But I love that she put out a quiz. I loved this conversation. Like, so this next
Fucking
book,
spring court again.
this next book's gonna
Bloomsbury.
be amazing.
Weren't you the one that said that Bloomsbury said, if it comes from our mouth or if it comes from us?
Yeah, I did say that.
What?
I did say
Their
that. So
PR
it has,
party is spring court
yeah,
coded.
which is like gonna upset a lot of people because they hate the spring court. So I'm kind of surprised they did a spring court coded PR party. The only reason they would do spring court coded is because of the book, but like, you know, people are like, I like night court.
I just,
It cracks me up.
I don't.
I love spring court. I would be all about that.
Oh my God. If they had a spring court themed ball,
I'm in.
they have like all the night court themed balls. Like, I don't give a flying fuck about the night court. I'm sorry. I just don't. Can we have any other court themed ball? Like, the day
I
court
know.
would be beautiful. The summer court would be beautiful. The
Well,
spring court would be like,
I've seen the balls where they're like, it's every court, just come as your favorite court. Like I've seen that.
yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
I know. But okay, well, text me tomorrow.
One more thing before you go.
Yeah.
Really, really quick. Really, really
Yeah.
quick. When Nesta and Cassian land in the spring court, it says, Nesta feigned gazing toward a bramble of roses. What is another word for bramble? Olivia. Briar.
I'm
And
not even gonna
Reese
say it.
says in ACOFAS, the briars of thorns along the wall.
You know what? You know what really sucks?
Is that
I'm
I have
so
a
mad.
point?
Yeah. So like I took, you know, I took this class. I just finished like 2 days ago. Actually, I finished yesterday, the class, the writing class.
Mhm.
It was amazing, by the way, if you ever want to take a writer's course.
Mhm.
And she was harping on something called like magical echoes throughout book, which is also known as like foreshadowing, and you use these echoes to create tension.
Briars of thorns.
Yeah. So what I hate and what kind of kills my soul a little bit is like admitting that like you're right. And I specifically thought of you. I was like, Melanie's fucking right. Because it's like
The briars thorn and then like what I just said, like except the claws and teeth. Like Farah was put off by it, but then Briar thought they were cute.
yeah. Yeah. Like damn it.
I'm literally going to just lay down and die if it's not Briar. Like, I am just gonna give up. I swear to God, it has to be. It has to be. It has to be.
Sucks because like this kills me to admit it, but like I will say that like a lot of the foreshadowing that you've brought up does kind of indicate that like Briar's his mate, and it hurts me to say that.
From the spring to the winter thing and
yeah,
like all of this other stuff. But even just like I don't know, just from book one when he was like, the human life fascinates me and all this, you know, and your joy and all at once and like all this other stuff and it's so cute. They're gonna be so cute. So
bummer. I'm bummed, but I think that she is using the briar and the brambles and blah blah blah, all these different adjectives as like an echo throughout the books to
And like
indicate
I know you said, oh,
foreshadowing.
it could be a new character, it could be a new character, but I literally like she was the new character. Like I don't like if you add in a new character, why are you gonna throw away to add in other new characters? It just doesn't make sense to me.
But she did that with Siggy. Siggy sucked, and then she
Well,
threw
she
her
didn't. The
away.
Siggy storyline is still going on.
She kind of threw her out.
No.
Like, I think she thought Siggy was going to be his mate, and then she was like, I changed my mind. Ethan's mate. And she's like, as I write it, I don't like it.
Well, she needed some sort of way to get Therian out of the Viper Queen's nest, and she was
Yeah.
like, who do I sacrifice?
Yeah.
Well, they don't know this girl yet, so I'll do her, and I'll make her a bitch, so they don't
It
care.
was it was really weird because she like spent a lot, like as I was reading it, she spent
Yeah.
a lot of time like talking about Siggy and the sprites, like especially in the it was really weird.
But that's why I don't think that her story's over. Like, yeah, she's dead, but then again, you have to remember we have Hypaxia who didn't take the antidote yet. And she literally says, like, I don't know what this is gonna do to me. Like, I don't know how much my powers are gonna expand. Like, I can already bring back the fucking dead. Like, I don't know what it's gonna do to me. So I'm actually really excited for Hypaxia's story. I think she's
Yeah,
really underrated.
yes, she's
And I
awesome.
love the witch stuff. I
Yeah.
love the witch stuff. So like I honestly, what is her power gonna grow to? I'm
I'm so
excited.
excited.
I'm
If she
excited.
could bring people like legit
Totally
back from
back.
the dead,
But then wouldn't like, I don't know, would that like interrupt the balance of things? I feel like you can't do that without severe repercussions. Like I feel like it would have to take something from her each time.
it
Kind
would
of
be
like a
so
deal with the
fucking
Stygian
cool.
spider, like maybe years of your life for this
Yeah.
person or
Yeah.
whatever. So maybe she'll bring her fully back from the dead. We don't know. Because didn't she kind of have a thing with not just Ethan, but didn't she have a thing with was it Flynn? Oh no, that was Ariadne. Never mind.
I
That's
know, I got confused with that too.
but
I don't know. I like Apaxi a lot. Like, I want to see what she could do too. She's gonna be fucking cool when she comes into her
she
own.
gave
Like,
us she gave us the six-pointed star clue from
I
the
know,
ring.
I know.
I'm not letting
I
that
know.
go. I'm never
Oh,
letting that go. I'm
it's
never
gonna
letting
be
it go.
great.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are, as I usually say, back finally.
Yes.
Um, hopefully we get more than 5 minutes if, you know, this doesn't trigger somebody. their
Somebody's
their
like
seer
six
power.
I was gonna crazy.
But talking about seer power.
Oh my god. Say it. Say it.
What did I do a reel about 6 weeks ago?
I'm shocked. Like I how okay. How did you know though? For real. How did you know?
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, there is a reel going around on Instagram today. Today's the 16th that we're filming. And there is on I forget which website it is, but on one of the websites for upcoming books, they have
Yep.
listed the A Court of Thorns and Roses novella 2 and at the same time A Court of Thorns and Roses number 5/6, depending on how you see ACOFAS. And I did this whole voice note ramble rant that I turned into a part 1 and part 2 reels on my Instagram 6 weeks ago, where I was talking about how the Moore novella and the next big book has to be either a tandem read or a couple months apart from each other. Literally 6 weeks ago.
I'm literally like so shocked that it's actually like she's releasing the book and the novella at the same exact time.
And I start my reel off with, now, I highly doubt she's going to do this, but this is what I want her to do.
So tell them like what were you thinking? What got you thinking that?
So, obviously we had been talking about like the Lauren prequel that we wanted or whatever, and I was
Yeah.
thinking of that stuff, and basically my train of thought was, what other storylines have we not seen yet? Obviously, we all know that the Valahan storyline is still outstanding. And that kind of bothers me because, it's been ACOFAS, ACOSF, HOFAS already. And we already know that it's an ACOWAR novella because it breaks off from ACOWAR, and then ACOFAS is ACOWAR 3.1 officially on Goodreads. It's 3.1.
Okay.
So it's a break off of ACOWAR. So this novella is 3.2. So it comes right after ACOFAS. So it has to be Moore's Valahan story because, again, we have no idea what happened there. And then, as we've said with Eka, like, Moore was very weird about it, changing the subject when Farah was asking her about stuff. And I was thinking, like, she can't release a whole other new book and forget about this storyline. She has to release it before the next big book. But if she only releases a novella, the fandom's going to be pissed because it's been 5 years by the time this gets released. So my train of thought was she could release the novella as, the ending to that, not really the ending to that Valahan storyline, but kind of the midpoint between ACOWAR and the Koshi storyline, because obviously that's going to lead into this Koshi war. The Valahan stuff, she's trying to get people to sign the treaty and be all
Yeah.
set so that everyone can fight as allies against Koshi, right? So
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, we have to have that story before anything because we have to know what went on during ACOFAS and ACOSF when we got everybody else's story during ACOSF. It's kind of like it's a Empire of Storm's Tower of Dawn thing where they're happening at the same time, and we didn't get the part 2 yet, which is Moore's story. So we would have to have her story before this Hoshi storyline can take place. So I was like, we have to have this novella before the big book. And if we have it before the big book, people are going to be pissed. So she should just release them either at the same time or just months apart. That was my line of thinking.
And it was, and look at you, like, spot on the money. That was amazing. Truly.
Yeah, I went on this whole thing about how even though I prefer Eris to have his own book, I wonder, the novella to me can go two different ways. It can either be Moore and Eris as I originally thought and as I still believe, or it could be Moore's Valahan story and include the Clotho information that we haven't gotten, that I am always talking about, how there's so much with her that we don't know that could be incorporated into this. And when Moore visited her, she was like, friend, like, the truth teller and the spinner of fate.
Weird. It was super sus.
So it could either be Moore, Eris, the Valahan, and their history, or it could be more Clotho, Valahan treaty stuff on the continent, and then that would let us know without SJM actually letting us know, which is what she's special for, that Eris might get his own book in the future because, as she said, she is contracted for 3, but she wants to do a lot more.
Oh my God.
I personally believe that the Autumn Court deserves its own book when Baron dies. I think it would be super interesting to see Eris finally becoming High Lord and what he does with his personality when he's no longer being oppressed by Baron.
Yeah.
And to see him kind of trying to navigate that and right everything that Baron has done wrong, the allyships and all of that stuff, and getting, even Lucian to believe, like, I couldn't openly care about you or he would have killed you and all this stuff, which would be great because if we have the Illusion book, that could lead into the truth about, obviously, Lucian and Helion and Lady Autumn after Baron dies, which would then lead into Eris taking over Autumn. So that's what I think.
So that's why, like, that's why this next book is so interesting to me. Because like I said, I was convinced it's an Asriel book. I was convinced. I'm still like,
Me
it still could be
too.
an Asriel book.
It still could be, but
It still could be, but it's looking like it's Elaine's book next.
so
It does, doesn't it?
well, so here's the thing. Mor and Asriel have to have a conversation. Have to have a conversation.
Oh my gosh.
Have to have a conversation.
But
So
it's overdue. It's like so overdue.
Yeah. So as much as I go so back and forth about is it Aleutian, is it Gwynriel, is it Tamlin, all this stuff, I think the most realistic way for her to do it, if she was going to expand her contract and give us an Eris book, would be the Mor novella with Clotho, not Eris, and then and Gwynriel's book. Because Mor would come back from Valahan, they would have to have their talk, especially if Asriel found out that Gwen is his mate. They have to fucking clear the air. All of this stuff, right? Asriel could finally know the truth. Because actually I sent a voice note on the group the other day, just a little side note, when I was going back through ACOSF, and I always forget that Mor now knows Eris's truth. I don't know whether he was able to keep it from her before, but do you remember in the meeting how he says, like, there were forces at work that you have no idea about, right?
Yeah.
And then so ACOSF, he lets Rhys into his head. We see from Cassian's point of view. And then later on, Cassian says like twice, like, oh, and whatever Rhys showed her, Mor now trusted Eris, so I guess I should too. So Rhys showed her whatever he saw. And I always forget that.
I forgot that. I totally forgot that part.
That's why.
That's wild.
That's why Mor doesn't trash talk Eris when we see her on page, really, in ACOSF. Like she had in ACO War, she had really in ACOFAS. But she doesn't really talk about him that much. After that point, when Cassian says that Rhys showed her, she doesn't talk about him. And she trusts him as their ally. So that's another thing. I'm so fucking curious to see what those actual forces were at play, because we already knew the truth that he left her there to give her freedom and all of that stuff, especially from, again, ACOFAS. We saw that flashback, which was kind of leading into this. So I think that Mor and Asriel are going to have a talk. She might tell him, third person, seeing it third person again, what she saw, what Rhys saw from Eris's mind, and then, she can probably tell him that she's gay and all this stuff, and Asriel's like, it's fine, I found my mate, whatever, we're good, clearing the air, all this stuff. So I think that would be the best way to go about it. It would be the Mor Clotho thing, and then the Asriel book, her and Asriel clearing the air kind of in the beginning. Whether he knows about Gwen being his mate yet or not, I still think they need a conversation regardless. And then in Asriel and Gwen's book, that could lead to, of course, the Valkyries, perhaps Dusk. The beginning of the Koshi War. Nesta, yes. Here we go, yep. Beginning of the Koshi War. We know that Koshi's after Asriel. We know that Koshi's after Elaine. We know that Koshi's even after, like, Mor. Like, all these people are connected. Baron, so Eris is connected to it. Literally every single of these outstanding characters that we don't have first person point of views of yet are connected to Koshi. So they're all going to get a storyline eventually. So that would lead to the Valkyries, to Dusk, all that stuff. Because I really think Nesta should know all the truth about her power before the war, so they can be badass Valkyries in the war, let's be real. Liberate Dusk.
You don't think that she already knows? You don't think she knows?
Because Dusk isn't really liberated yet. Like, the Pegasi aren't back, and the magic isn't flowing freely yet, and all of that. So I think part of Asriel's story, because we know he's connected to Dusk, just like Nesta, part of that is going to be navigating their storyline infused with Nesta's storyline. So that's going to lead into the Koshi War, which again is, I think, going to be probably a multi-book thing, right? And that would lead into Elaine's shit, because I feel like, I mean, she's also a loose thread. I do think the Azriel stuff needs to come first because Elaine.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I think so
So
too.
yeah. So I think the Dusk and Azriel stuff is going to come first. I think that it's going to lead into, as I said, the Koshi War stuff. It's going to lead into shit. We still need Tamlin to fight this war. What the fuck are we going to do? He needs to be fine. And Elaine being the girl that wants to travel. What? She could be like, you guys have issues with him. I've never really met him aside from
Yeah,
the 2 seconds in the cauldron scene. Why don't I go see what I can do? Obviously,
yeah,
Feyre, Nesta are gonna be fucking pissed. But we
yeah.
have that line. We have that line in ACOSF where she's like, you can't resent my decision to lead a small life and
Yeah.
not let me do anything greater. So she is going to be that person that's like, I'm gonna go see what I can do, see if I can help, all this stuff. And Farrah's gonna have to let her, because in ACOSF, when she was fighting with Nesta, and Nesta's like, you're not going near the cauldron, you're not scrying, blah, blah, blah. And Farrah was like, it's Elaine's choice. It's Elaine's choice. Well, Farrah, that's
I
gonna
know.
bite you in the fucking ass, because you were the one saying, I will never let Elaine go to spring and all
Yeah,
this shit. If she pulls a Tamlin on Elaine, that is just going to be. And Amryn calls her out for that, because we have Amryn going, you sound just like Tamlin, when she was like, my sisters are not involved in this at first. And Moore was pissed, remember?
yeah,
Apologize. And she's like, no, she's right. She realized, like, no, she's right. I'll ask them. It's their choice. So that's gonna bite her in the ass when Elaine's gonna be like, look, he hates all of you. He doesn't really know me. My mate is there currently, so he's not gonna let Tamlin hurt me because it's a mate bond thing, right?
yeah.
So
Right.
they kind of have that whole thing where I think Farrah's gonna be the one where it's like, well, Lucian let Tamlin hurt me, and she's gonna pull that bullshit. But Rhys is
Yeah.
gonna be like, well, you weren't his mate. I think this is where Rhys is kind of gonna step up to the plate and be like, this is mate shit. You can't really come between her decision
I
to go see
would
her mate.
love that. I
So
would love that because we see Reese, to his credit, is a
his credit.
hard Illusion
He
fan.
is.
He is
Whether
the
it's for political
biggest.
gain or not, he still is. He has
He
his reason.
totally, you have to give him points for that because he is a major Illusion
I know.
shipper.
Yeah. Well, Lucian is a loyal guy. Well, Lucian is a good male. Like, but I think, yeah, as much as I don't like Reese, I do feel like Reese is going to be the one that has to kind of talk Feyre down there and be like, you need to let her find herself the way that you were allowed to
You
find
found,
yourself here.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I bet Nesta will be involved too and all this shit. But that again, so it'll lead into Elaine ultimately going to spring. Um, but I feel like
wow.
I wanted to ask you because this is what I think the order is going to be, but this is just my perception of, and it changes usually, but I think I'm going to stick to this. I think I'm going to stick to this. So I think it's going to be more Gwynreal slash Dusk,
Yep, yeah,
Illusion slash Tamlin,
yep,
and then other books like Eris's book,
yeah.
perhaps a Winter Court novella, stuff like this. So
Helion, Lady A. Yeah,
Helion, Lady A, yeah, I think they would be a part of Eris's book, and Eris
yeah.
could then, if Helion dies in the war, Eris is going to be able to teach Lucian how to be a High Lord, and I think that. There's a lot for an Eris book because it would
There's a
involve his
ton
whole
of stuff.
family. It would involve his whole family, all that shit.
Yes.
Lucian,
His
Helion,
two
Lady A,
brothers, his
both courts.
mom,
Yeah, all that stuff.
knowing the information, pulling the strings, his
Yeah,
possible daughter. I mean,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of stuff going on.
Possible son. Just kidding. Poor Mac. Um,
You
but
all are great.
hey,
I just can't
hey,
get over it.
Who said that it was unlikely she was gonna do a tandem read?
I did say that. I was like, you're so full of it, Melody. It's not gonna happen. What are you talking about? And
Nobody
lo and
believes me.
behold, we're all sitting here on Calendar Day, like when we got winds of someone saying that she was gonna release news. You and me were like, holy shit! And like Miriam and all them, nothing happens. Father's Day, they sneak it up on, what was it, Audible or something? But it's interesting. The publishing date was like 2029, but I think that means the book would come out.
That's the audiobooks. That's the audiobooks.
The audiobooks,
yeah.
They come out obviously way after.
Years, yeah, like 3 years later,
okay.
yeah. Because
Voice
Crescent
actors.
City was just released, dramatized, and
okay,
was like 2021, so 20.
That's what I thought. It's like a 2-year thing. So if we go off
4
that,
years, 4 years, yeah, 2025 to 2029, 4 years.
Wait, for Crescent City, it took 4 years?
Yeah, Crescent City 1 just got dramatized, and it came out
Holy
in 2020.
Shit! So if you,
yeah, so it's coming out. It's coming out
year.
This 2025.
Coming out in the end of 2025. Like it's coming out between May and December of 2025 is what it sounds like. Oh my god, I'm like freaking out already.
It could be Sarah's birthday, which is March. Could be.
Well, Bloomsbury put out, we've talked about that post, so
yeah. Well, Bloomsbury said nothing before the end of February. They said nothing about March.
February, not March.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what throws me off. Unless they're just being purposefully deceitful. They threw the Spring Court themed influencer party. Very, very Spring Court. Everything's Spring Court. But I'm in agreement with you. I think the next book is a Gwen Real book. It has to be a Gwen Real book.
Yeah, with the more novella. Yeah.
Yeah, with a more novella. Why do the Spring Court? Why is it just? I think it's just to like get us all, riled up. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Unless, hear me out, because this was another fleeting idea that I had the other day.
Okay.
So, Moore is the truth teller, and I think we might have gone over this part. And how I had been saying that in HOFAS, she was indirectly sort of comparing Asriel to Tamlin. Remember?
I remember us talking about this.
And how, Vesperus was talking about the thin places, and he had the same wind power, the same power as Selene to crumble the entrance of Under the Mountain and all of that stuff. So my thought was, what if it wasn't Asriel who knew about Lauren and Tamlin? What if it was Moore? And what if we get the Moore novella, since it's already pre-ACOSF? What if we get the Moore novella with the Lauren and Tamlin prequel?
Holy shit. That would make so much sense to me. And that explains the shadow, because who knows about her secret relationship with Tamlin? Moore. So who's Lauren going to visit first before going to Tamlin? Moore.
Is that why she wasn't at the wedding? Like, ruins wedding.
Honestly, I'm going to lose it.
And it was Moore that took Farah from Tamlin's house. It was Moore that we think consorted with Ianthe to ruin the wedding.
So
it was also Moore who said, "Oh, just another male that she would never forgive for abusing a female."
I know. She said horrible things about Tamlin. Moore said that.
But if she believes that Lauren is actually dead like everybody else, that would kind of make sense. Because I do, again, fully believe that Tamlin thinks that she's dead. I think she went through the portal and she never came back, and he's like, she's dead.
Oh, I think he thinks. I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn because he did not straight up apologize to Rhys, and I think there's a part of him.
It's suspicious as fuck.
There's a part of him, I think, that questions. I think he's like, I think she might still be out there. I can't get to her. I can't
Hello.
open portals. Tamlin,
I was looking for you and I couldn't find you. Again, I'm
you.
so convinced he was hallucinating Farah as Lauren. I am so convinced.
Well, it was like, I understand that people are like, it was her scent. It was her scent. I don't think so. I think
Okay,
he
but
thought it
her
was
scent is
Lauren.
also lilac and pear. Pear is citrusy. Hello, citrus,
Yeah.
night court.
Yeah. I mean, he was like really, really deeply in this like ritual, this magical ritual.
Yeah,
And I think
super high.
he was thinking about Lauren.
Hmm. Hmm.
He
So,
had to have
so
been.
here's the thing, right? So if that's in the if that's a little part of the Moore novella, and then it goes into Gwenriel. So then we have, I'm trying to like follow this on a
I
track
know.
right
It's
now.
like trying
So
to
it's like, yeah,
map it.
it's so like Clotho and Moore, and then Moore and Lauren, Tamlin, and then Tamlin and Asriel, Gwenriel book, Asriel and Moore, that whole convoluted story of do they know this, do they not know this, all this shit. Gwenriel book, Valkyries, Aleutian, blah blah blah. That gives enough space between, and I know you're going to absolutely fucking hate what I'm gonna say, but that gives
Mm.
enough space between the Tamlin and Lauren love story and the Tamlin and Briar present day love story.
I hate that so much. You're right. I absolutely hate. I'm concerned though because now you have me doubting the Lauren thing. I'm doubting it, and I'm nervous that we're not going to get it. We're never going to get it, and it's only going to be a Briar storyline. I'm concerned.
So I'm concerned. My concern lies where I do think the connection is going to be made, kind of like Lydia and Aelin said without being said, but they're not actually going to see each other again. Like, I feel like the
I'm
truth about what happened is going to come out, but she's not actually going to come back to Prithian.
I think it's
But,
oh, that
but
kills
at the
me.
same
That
time,
hurts.
but at the same time, by somebody, we have to know that she's alive, which is another reason of where I think Cormac will come in.
Here's my thing though. Here's my thing is like the whole series starts off and the basis of it is this like revenge, vendetta, two feuding families, like very much a Romeo Juliet type of thing, in my
Yes.
opinion. I know it's Beauty and the Beast, but and it really is all centered on the feud between Tamlin and Rhys, right? So wouldn't you think that Rhys, to get closure, to heal himself, would have to see his sister again and have a conversation with her and be like, what happened that day?
So,
Don't you think?
so I had another little thing that I was gonna say. So Reese,
Before I cut you off.
so yeah, so Reese and his issues at the moment, his little power trip
Yeah.
issues at the moment. We got the drop, and I bring this up constantly. We got the drop in ACOSF that he can literally time jump.
Yeah.
Literally fucking time
Crazy.
jump.
We never talk about Rhys time jumping. Never.
Oh,
Ever.
well, with your power, why don't you just do that? What the fuck, Cassian? I was like, what the fuck, Sarah? What?
And no one ever talks about it.
Nobody ever talks about it. I don't think they knew what he meant, or they thought it was just a joke. But
No.
Reese took it super seriously. It was like he threw him a withering glare. Like, what? Just like that there are threads to be woven here. He is so fucked up. Like, he's so fucked. I think
He's all knowing. I'm convinced. He's like the omniscient character in this.
so. Here's the thing. This is the part that confuses me because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it should be its own novella, but if Reese can time jump, it would be super fucking cool if we could go back in his point of view.
Yes.
But
I want to see it.
but as
To what point though?
Exactly.
To what point?
Listen. So in um in one of my fanfics, I have Elaine go back. So it's actually in the Briar and Tamlin Sleeping Beauty fanfic that I'm doing. So Elaine astral projects back to the truth about Lauren. So I think, but she's kind of like a ghostly viewer, not really there. She's just kind of
Yeah.
like seeing. So
Yeah. Just she watches.
I would love, as much as I hate Reese, I would love for him to go back and be this sort of like spirit viewer of what actually happened when he wasn't there.
Yep.
Just like I made
Yep.
Elaine. So it was Tamlin making a bargain with Lauren about if Amarantha ever found out, we need to do this, or if this happened and all this stuff. It was like, it's convoluted or whatever that I put in my story. But I feel like he could see her drawing the mural. He could see her explaining to Tamlin everything about Dusk that she never told him because he was connected to their father. And I would eat that shit up and I want it.
I want that so bad. I want the prequel. I want Reese. I want to step back into Reese's POV because I enjoyed it. I truly did. I don't even need the fucking mural. I just need what
The
happened that
truth.
day to go down. I just want to see what happened that day to go down. I want to start from the beginning of the day to their death to what happened immediately after, and I want it to end like Tamlin is like slashing Reese's father, and I just want it.
Yeah, like kind of like or that's another thing. We could just see it as Elaine's premonition too. A big
We could
premonition, like a big past vision. That would be super
totally,
cool. Can you imagine?
totally.
So can you imagine? Because actually that would make more sense because if it's an Aleutian and Tamlin book, that would make
Yeah.
sense for Elaine to have to be the one to not only tell them that Lauren's alive. Hello, I can hear her crying and everyone thinks she's
Yes,
dead.
Elaine is the one saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only would
Shut
she have
up.
to be the one to tell them that, but I think it would also, as like a 1-2 punch, she would also have to be the one to kind of tell Lucian, like, Baron's not your father. Or if she doesn't think that he knows, I would assume. So I feel like Elaine has all this shit and she's like, do I tell? Do I not tell? Like, what the fuck? Why am I getting these
Okay,
visions?
but this would make so much sense, and here's the reason why. In the past couple days, right, I've had a lot of time to like think about what's going to happen. I'm convinced, like you, that Elaine is going to be the one that actually befriends Tamlin
Yeah,
out of everybody.
I
Right?
want her
Like
to.
convinced.
It
She
would make
is.
sense because Lucian's his friend.
Yeah, and also she's very much that beauty from Beauty and the Beast. Like I think here we are,
Yeah.
right? Like we're back at the actual story, but she'll put a spin on it. But also I feel like she's gonna be the one to see through the bullshit of like and be like Tamlin, like when she's like thinking about it, like Tamlin didn't really do that. And I think she actually holds like sympathy for him or empathy. Nobody else does. And I think maybe that's why she's so at odds with everyone right now. It's very weird for Elaine. She's in like a really weird spot.
So, not to like bring up anything you haven't really read yet, but I think you know the premise of what I'm going to say. But have you seen everybody talking about, and I did a little reel about this a while ago. I couldn't find it, but I did it like ages ago when I first started Tog. And I said that I was like, oh my God, Lucian and Elaine are Karanam.
Okay, so I have not read the Karen M plotline yet.
So basically, it's because remember how Echo was saying she thought it was Farah and Lucian, which still might be true, but I kind of think it's Elaine and Lucian. Basically, Karanam and Tog are two people who can kind of siphon each other's power. They can exchange power, give power, take power from each other. Did you ever notice that every time Elaine has a vision, Lucian's around?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I did not notice that.
He's in the scene when she talks about the ravens and the crying. He's in the scene when he very first talks to her and she has the thing about the girls and the swans and the blah, blah, blah. I think that was a vision.
Oh, yeah. Totally. I
And
agree. And he's like, should we get her anything? And everyone's like, no, Lucian.
so I think his presence, like his magic, triggers hers. I think that's a huge part of the reason why she doesn't like being around him.
I think that would make total sense. I think that would make total sense. But here's my problem with that is that maybe Lucian is confusing the mate bond with the Karanam bond. Is that how you call it?
Yeah,
And
but the Karanam, like you don't have to be mates or anything to be Karanam.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
What if
but
he
it's
thinks it?
but it's like different. It's hard to explain. Tog is it's so convoluted in Tog because they are mates, but they're also Karanam, so it's really weird what
To differentiate
yeah.
it.
But it's kind of different.
So are Feyre and Rhysand mates in Karanam?
They must be.
Because they share.
Well,
I mean, they share.
well,
kind of.
Feyre actually got the seeds from all the High Lords, so I don't think they are.
Yeah.
She would just have
Okay.
it from him. But the cauldron scene, she did siphon from him to fix the cauldron, remember? So they could have
Yeah,
been
they
too.
were powering each other up. It was very reminiscent of like Bryce and Hunt.
Yeah. So that's what Aelin and Rowan do. Aelin powers up Rowan when Maeve basically takes his state of mind or whatever, his power is draining or whatever, and she like grabs his hand and like pushes her fire into his veins.
So here's the thing. I know you're gonna be so pissed about it.
No.
So go back to the cauldron scene, right? We have Elaine going in, and we see Tamlin lunging for Elaine.
No, we don't.
And we
No, we don't.
and we
No, we don't.
could
He does not lunge for Elaine. He attacks the king.
Oh, he attacks the king.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lucian lunges for Elaine.
Yeah, he went to attack the king. So could Lucian be Karanam and Tamlin be her real mate?
No. Because Tamlin didn't even look at her. He was going after the king. He didn't give a shit.
No, because then when he was tied down, you know, he had like everything. He was like staring at Elaine.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
And Lucian.
He was
watching Lucian.
He was watching Lucian because Lucian spell cleaved to get to Elaine. He doesn't
and he
actually
figured out
look
at that
at
time.
Elaine.
Yeah, he figured out when he was looking at Lucian, he knew at that time he was Helian's kid and not Barrett's. That's what he found out at that moment. I know he did.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. That's really weird.
But that was the parallel that I used for Nesta and Cassian, because when everyone's like, oh, Tamlin, I'm like, first of all, nobody had powers really in that scene except for Moore. Again, fucking weird. But we'll skirt over that. Nobody had powers in this scene. So Rhys could not have woven fake threads. Hybern cannot weave fake threads. The cauldron has no reign over mate bonds. Amren says this when they get back to the river house because Hybern tried to break Feyre and Rhys's bond and he could only break the bargain, remember? He thought it was the bond, but it was the bargain. And Amren says, you cannot break that kind of bond. You cannot break a mate bond. Cannot. So it's definitely Lucian. Because nobody could have fucked with it at that point. The cauldron can't fuck with it, and Rhys was powerless. No.
Oh my gosh. Okay.